Redknapp won a home one, but they just have that look about them as a team that can score goals, you know. I mean, Di Canio didn't have his most productive afternoon, but worked really hard. But Canute, you know, he puts fear into any defender, and they defended really solidly with Pearce star man. So I think they've got a great chance this year.
1990, Manchester United, the last team to win the FA Cup, having won in every other round on the road. Could West Ham perhaps follow, do you think?
Well, again, you have to credit Harry. He does his homework. He sets his team out as he did at Manchester United. And with Canute playing a counter-attack game, you've got, you know, one of the best in the game. But I thought Sunderland were disappointed, and sometimes I just wondered if it's players who, you know, you have early kick-offs, and sometimes the time clock isn't right. You know, we saw yesterday there wasn't a normal sport from Sunderland. The crowd were pretty quiet, and sometimes that happens with an early kick-off. People aren't quite awake, quite ready for that, you know, that start.
It's Arsenal and Chelsea here this afternoon. Team news from Claire Tomlinson. Claire.
Well, Richard, Arsene Wenger's been forced to ring the changes today with Tony Adams and Ray Parlour unavailable through suspension, and Martin Keown and Silvino still out with injury. It's a very different looking back four for the Gunners today. Chelsea also make two changes. Gus Poyet and Slavica Jukanovic coming in for them. So to have a look at the teams in detail, starting with Arsenal. David Seaman makes his 72nd FA Cup appearance in goal. The back four looks like this. Lee Dixon skippers the side. Oleg Luzhny comes in for Tony Adams, and Igor Stepanov's injury with 3 times FA Cup winner Dennis Wise and FA Cup debutant Sam Dalla-Bona, and up front it's Gianfranco Zola and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. Hasselbank has a record of 5 goals in 6 games against Arsenal. Jesper Gronkiar drops to the bench. Well, it's 9.5 hours since Arsenal have conceded a goal, and this, of course, is Fortress Highbury. But Chelsea have a great cup record, and they're going to be unwilling to relinquish their hold on the famous trophy.
Yeah, will Hasselbank be looking at that and thinking Stepanovs and Luzhny? Fancy that?
I think he will, to be fair. I mean, Arsenal have had a great record in the last 6 or so games, clean sheets, but that was with Tony Adams there. And Stepanovs has done well, actually, alongside Tony, but now he's out there on his own, alongside Luzhny, who isn't really a centre-half, he's more of a right wing-back, so it's going to be a big test for those two.
After the impact he's had, can you believe Chelsea aren't starting with Gronkiar?
I can't believe that he got dragged off, I think, 30 minutes to go in the Manchester United game a couple of weeks ago. And again, he's not starting much. Is a massive cup tie for Chelsea today. Obviously, Ranieri knows more about him than we do, but what we've seen of the threat he will give from wide positions, the goal threat he carries on both feet, you know, I'm so surprised that he's not starting the game.
We're at Highbury, live from the 5th round of the FA Cup. When we come back, majoring on the holders. That's next. England's cricketers, of course, in Sri Lanka at the moment. The first test starts Thursday morning at 4:15, live here on Sky Sports 2. Primetime highlights each evening in the World Cricket Centre. That's Test match cricket from Thursday. This afternoon, it's FA Cup football, the AXA-sponsored 5th round tie between Arsenal and Chelsea. It's interactive for Sky Digital viewers on Sky Sports Extra. That's channel 404. Robbie Earle and Alan Smith are with us this afternoon. We'll remind ourselves how the holders got this far. They started, of course, against Peterborough at the Bridge. What looked like an easy tie turned out to be exactly that. Zola opened the scoring. That was quickly followed by a second from Hasselbank. Poyet and Gudjonsson added another 2 before Zola made it 5. and we were with the holders when they went to Gillingham.
Oh, it's a mistake here by Ashby, and it's a goal for Gudjohnsen. His first start for Chelsea has got his first goal for Chelsea. Again, with trust from Chelsea on the counter-attack, and Gronkia, can he get another one? He has got. Honora, Ferrer comes across. It runs for Shaw. Gillingham have got a goal. And it's in. Honora. 2 for Gillingham. Oh, Gudjohnsen unmarked. Look at that.
Claudio Ranieri at Chelsea, 24 matches into his reign now. He's lost almost a third of them, but only 1 in 10 as they've climbed from 17th to 8th in the league and, of course, made their way through to this stage, the 5th round of the FA Cup. What, Robbie, are we to make of Claudio Ranieri?
I still think he's tinkering with what he thinks is not only his best team, but also his best system. We've seen him on a number of occasions since his reign change the team mid-game. They've gone from a flat back 4 to 3 at the back with 4 midfield, 3 at the back with wing backs. So.
Is that because he's smart? Is that because he's confused? Is that because he's bold? What
I
explains
think it's a
that
combination of them all. I think as a modern coach nowadays, you have to adapt your team sometimes to what's happening on the pitch. I also think he's learning about his players as he goes along. So, a little unfairly, I think he was getting a lot of bad press coming in after Violi. He was very media friendly and all that. Whereas, you know, Ranieri doesn't speak the language, doesn't come across quite as affable. And I think he's had problems in his communication. But I think he's starting to turn things around. Their league form's picked up. He needs a cup run to kind of keep the fans off his back as such.
How long does it take, Alan, to settle in, would you say?
I think you've got to give him a good run of 20 games or so to really get the feel of the. I mean, he's got no previous experience of the Premiership, but he's learning as he goes along. I do think what he has introduced is a bit more steel at the back and solidity. They do look quite a formidable back 5, you know, stroke back 4. I think there were some players within the club that maybe would like to play with that back 4, but he's introduced John Terry, who I think has done really well alongside Desailly and LeBeuf. So there have been plus points. I think we'll see a few changes today. If it's not going according to plan, I think Gronkia will come on and perhaps the whole shape of the side will change.
We're with Gus Poyet, who really loves the FA Cup.
Oh, simply glorious! It's Gus Poyet for a second time at Wembley.
I remember when I was playing in Spain, I was watching the FA Cup final, especially on television, and when you see Wembley with that red carpet in there and the people shaking hands, and you didn't understand very well in the beginning, but after, you know, you think about the possibility to play that kind of game. And I had the opportunity last year, and it was absolutely magnificent.
What's different about cup football?
Well, it's different because in Premiership you can lose 1 game and you have always the possibility to recover. But in Cup, it's just there. It's like a final. Every game, every leg is a final, and I think everybody plays like this.
Does that mean there's more pressure on you in a cup game?
Well, before the game, maybe yes. I remember last year our first game was Hull, and I saw before the game too many press, waiting maybe for Chelsea to lose, and after we showed everybody we played very well and we scored many goals. But
a hat-trick?
Yeah, I remember that. It was the only one in Europe, so I'm gonna remember my life.
Oh, what another great goal for Chelsea.
Chelsea is one of the teams that really like to play cups, I think, because maybe we are better in 1 game than all the season, that the consistency that you need to win the Premiership we don't have at the moment. So sometimes in the back of your head you are thinking about the cup games to try to win something during the season.
Do you think it's your best route into Europe this season, the FA Cup?
Well, probably, but we want to believe in the possibility of the Champions League. I said all the players that we had the possibility to play last year in Champions League was absolutely magnificent. We want to play again, and because we are getting older and the football is very close to the finish of your career, we want to try to qualify for the Champions League.
But you want to be cup holders and you want to retain that cup at the end of the season.
Yeah, you have to defend with all your power to try to keep the cup in Chelsea.
I just wonder if little Henry Wise is aware yet of what an impact he had on the FA Cup.
He'll know in a few years' time, won't he?
Do the Foreign Legion, wherever they play now, do the Foreign Legion understand what the FA Cup means to the English?
I think it's gradually seeping through. I mean, somebody like Gus Poyet, who's obviously been over here a few years, it gradually gets through, doesn't it? Lads coming first into the league, and probably the teammates are geeing them up, going, come on lads, this is the big one, FA Cup today. And they view it from a distance, don't they, via the television, and probably don't get a feel of it as much as they do when they come over. And I think it does mean something to players like this. You know, they've been to Wembley, they've sampled the atmosphere, and they want to go again. This time Cardiff, and yeah, I think it does mean a lot.
I suppose Ozzy was the first, famously, wasn't he, with Tottenham. And Ricky Villa stole the headlines in the final replay, didn't he? But most have started to understand, I think, that it is special.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that special day in May, it gets transmitted all over the world, and players, whatever league they're playing in, will watch in to see who wins the English FA Cup. You can see people like Poyet, he almost gets up for these games because, you know, if there's one midfield player on view you think may score the winning goal, you put your money on him.
You missed out, didn't you, by a year?
Semi-final with Wimbledon against Chelsea, and I know the other side of the coin how disappointing it can be to get that close.
Alan Smith, a winner once amongst how many other honours? Was it 4, 5 here?
Yeah, 5, I think.
Yeah. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. He does like the FA Cup as well. 6 goals in 10 FA Cup games, 5 in 9 at Leeds. He's made quite an impact on his return to English football, hasn't he?
He has. I mean, you know, he's top there, towards the top of the list of top scorers, and he's a real physical threat, very single-minded, as single-minded as strikers I think you'll see in the Premiership. Sometimes if he's not on the score sheet, he gives the appearance of sulking a bit, you know. And
but all you guys are like that, aren't they?
Well,
you goal
yeah,
scorers?
some more than others. I think sometimes his hold-up play on that isn't as good as it should be. You know, his touch sometimes lets him down. His concentration can be wayward, but you know, get him within 25 yards of goal, and he's got as hard a shot as anybody, I think, going.
Likes playing against Arsenal as well. 5 goals in 6 games against the Gunners. 17 in 28 this season, including Robbie. 5 in his last 7. This is a fella in form, isn't it?
He's a fella in. It's quite ironic, you know, if there's one thing probably in the Arsenal ranks that you say they'd miss, it'd be a player of Hasselbank's quality, that predator striker who may not get involved in some of the great football that Arsenal may play. But once or twice when Arsenal had that little run where they weren't winning games, I felt they were missing a Hasselbank, a 6-yard box finisher. And
you'd rather have him than a Henry?
No, I'm saying, I think if you have the combination of the two, you've got the perfect balance.
The two that Chelsea have is Hasselbank and Zola, who some had put out to grass about a year ago, but too early it would seem.
Yeah, a little too early. He's been rejuvenated since Ranieri's come in. Great technical ability. He's got this wonderful awareness of picking space up between the midfield and forwards, and he's the kind of person who will play those little slide balls through to Hasselbank to get onto. So he's one Arsenal are definitely going to have to watch, and he'll pull those big 2 centre-halves about today and test their intelligence as well as their defending.
About the same size, Dennis Wise, who nearly left the club, what, 6-8 weeks ago now? How much of a blow would that have been, Alan? Put it another way, how important is he to them?
I think, yeah, as a figurehead as much as anything, and just a symbol of Chelsea and the spirit of the club. I don't know what was said when Ranieri played him out of position and left him out.
Well, you can imagine, can't you, in Dennis's case?
Well, in Dennis's case, but whether some of the teammates said, look, come on, you know, Dennis is the man that we like to see in the side, and just in the centre midfield, he was shoved out onto the left, wasn't he, at one time? I mean, last week against Manchester United, he got the runaround a bit, actually, from Roy Keane, and he was very quiet for him, but even so, these are the games, London derbies, that he's always up for, and he'll play a big part today. Marcel
Desailly, if anyone knows about Thierry Henry, I suppose he does.
Yeah, strangely, for me, if there's one player that's upset Desailly over the years, it seems to be Henry, because they've trained together at the national level, he knows maybe 1 or 2 weaknesses in Desailly that we don't see week in, week out, but no, probably with Jaap Stam, he's the outstanding centre-half, and having played against him a few times, he's one of those where you start to run at him, turn him back and knock the ball back. It just ain't worth going there. You ain't going to run him, you ain't going to outpower him, and probably, you know, on the physical side.
No, he's tired.
That's one of his weaknesses.
But Henry actually said that he no longer holds a psychological advantage over Henry, because he said he did well against him last year, and he's not scared of him anymore, which is a plus point in Henry's favour. I mean, but you talk about quick players, and that's quite a sprint, isn't it, between those two?
And a quick word about Gronkjaer. No Gronkjaer, in case there's any Chelsea fans just joining us. Big surprise, I would have thought, for most people.
Amazed. He's done so well in his, what is it, 3 games he's had. He's hit the ground running since he's come over to England, and not showed any signs of getting used to the tempo. He's a bit like Mark Overmars for Arsenal a couple of years ago. Just lent the side width and pace and that positive attitude, cutting in from the left, and absolutely amazed.
Might it have anything to do with the size of your pitch here, that is notoriously narrow, and maybe there isn't the space out?
Well, I mean, playing somebody hugging the touchline helps it enormously, doesn't it? If you've got a get-out ball who's standing on the line, it just increases the width of the pitch. And he's somebody that can go past players like they're not there.
Tell you what, Lee Dixon will be feeling a bit better running out today. It's just putting another yard in his stride, because
he ripped into United, didn't he?
Oh, I mean, he's going past international class defenders as though they're not there. I mean, this is Stam, who he's leaving on his backside, and really created an opportunity which should have won Chelsea the game last week. So massive threat. At least Chelsea do know he's sitting on the bench and can come on if things maybe aren't going their way.
They are the holders, Chelsea from West London. When we come back, we'll be majoring our attention on Arsenal from North London. Lee Dixon got a mention there. We'll be hearing from him. It seems he's staying at Highbury for another season at least. Celtic were held up yesterday. What will Rangers do today at Ross County? Is there a super Cali about that perhaps for Rangers? Scottish Cup 4th round tie. It's exclusively live, 5:30 Sky Sports 1, and on 3 at 6:30 from Spain, it's Real Mallorca against Athletic Bilbao. We're at Highbury for the 5th round FA Cup tie between Arsenal and Chelsea. It's interactive for Sky Digital viewers on channel 404, that's Sky Sports Extra. All the usual features there, including Fan Zone. Peter Krieg representing Arsenal, Andy Binstock Chelsea, and those two have gone head-to-head previously on Fan Zone. That's the alternative commentary today for Sky Digital viewers on channel 404. This is how, that's a very brief view of Arsenal's team, which we'll come back to later. This is how the Gunners made it through to this stage. They started at Carlisle and did a very professional job there. Leeds in 1997, it was by only a goal to nil. Now Arsenal haven't been conceding. Why?
Well, maybe in 2 words, Tony Adams come back into it, his organising skills, his commitment to the cause. I think the team get a G up when he's in that dressing room.
But
beforehand.
also back in the side, David Seaman.
David Seaman, yes, David Seaman. I think he plays a major part. You know, for all Alex Meninga's potential, I think when Big Dave's behind the back four, there's added confidence. You know, he just gives a presence out, and he was excellent in midweek in Lyon, kept them in the tie. And yeah, I don't think it's any coincidence, and I think he will remain England's #1 when Ericsson announces his team and squad. Yeah, I do. I think he's the best we've got still. He's had his critics, but he's shown in the last few weeks his reactions are still second to none.
I don't think anybody's criticised his form, have they? It's the ponytail that most people found very difficult.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with that. But he's adamant that he's not going to get rid of it, isn't he? So if he keeps making saves, I suppose he won't.
Should he?
That's for his own personal taste.
You're not going there, are you? Really?
Cut it off.
Get rid of it. Absolutely right. But this is England's #1 still for you.
I think so, yes. I just think, yeah, I mean, he's come back into the team. He's been out injured for a long while, and you just sometimes recognise his worth when he's been out, and he's come back in, and the team stopped leaking goals. And I do think at 37, is he? I think he's still got something to offer.
Lee Dixon started the last 14 as well, another of that magnificent back five. Most forget Martin Keown. We shouldn't. He's played his part as well for Arsenal down the years, hasn't he? But Lee Dixon here, still churning out games.
Again, and I think it's what Alan's saying with Tony Adams and with Dave Seaman. It's experience, it's know-how, and added to Dicko, as you know, he's got great enthusiasm for the game. You know, it's a testament to him that he's been offered another year's contract at 37 years of age. I think he'd be quite pleased that our friend Jonko's on the bench to start with, because he might have took a couple of games off his career. But no, Dicko, he still gets forward. He's got a great threat from the right-hand side. And he's a good talker. You know, Arsenal are going through a slight transition, and that's why you need your Adams, your Seamans, and people like Dixon to talk people through, because this is a big occasion. I mean, this is a crucial time for both clubs.
I mean, it's worrying really in a way, because Lee at 37 is still the best right back at the club, and I think for a couple of years Wenger has tried to find a long-term replacement, and you know, Luzhny, what is he, 32? I don't think he's answered the questions. So, you know, they've offered Lee another year because, quite simply, he's the best man still.
13 years at Highbury, and he told Claire Tomlinson this week it looks like he's going to be staying.
The good thing is that he has offered me a contract for next season, so a few little things we're going to sort of work out, but that's the pleasing things. It gives me an option now, which a week ago I didn't have. I've made it clear that I didn't want to go anywhere else, and being at a club for so long feels like home here, and I don't want to play for anybody else. That was first and foremost on my mind, and if it had come to the fact that the boss didn't offer me a new contract, then I would seriously considered hanging them up, as they say.
You are unbeaten at home. The record at Highbury has been absolutely phenomenal. What do you put that down to?
If I knew that, I'd be a manager, wouldn't I? I think the boss would like to know that as well. You know, we've not been consistent away from home. We've sort of built a bit of a fortress at Highbury, and if you're going to put it on something, you could say the confidence of having a record like we have does help you before kick-off time, when you realise that perhaps the opposition are looking at that record and saying, you know, it will be difficult to get something here.
Chelsea games always full of plenty of, should we call it, commitment. You expecting that sort of game?
Well, I think everybody would be disappointed if it's not like that. Very few games are played at walking pace against Chelsea, or especially in the FA Cup. And I don't see today's game being any different. I think it'll be a fast and furious affair, and hopefully it'll settle down and some football's played. I'm sure it will. There's just so many class players on view today. It's frightening when you look at the two forward lines of both sides and the midfield, and some old war horses at the back as well. So, you know, I think the game should have everything.
Tony Adams is suspended for today's game. It means you get the armband. How does that feel?
It's an extra responsibility, but it's not something that bothers anybody who wears the armband. I don't think it should anyway. I think you have to go out with 11 captains in the team mentality, and we've got a few people who like to scream and shout on match day, so let's hope it's no different. But it makes me very proud to wear the band, I must admit.
It'll be your 584th appearance, which puts you, wait for this, 4th in the all-time appearance board at Arsenal, up there with O'Leary, Adams, Armstrong and Nigel. Does that make you an Arsenal legend, Lee?
I don't know. I don't class myself as a legend by any means. It's just, you know, I've looked after myself and managed to play at a reasonable standard over a long period of time, and it sounds quite scary when you say 584, but I think Nigel's the same. So with a bit of luck, I might just overtake him next week if I can get a game against Lyon. But you know, Tony's up there as well, which the three of us out the back four. It is some achievement, but it doesn't stand for anything. It won't stand for anything on today's game. You know, it'd be nice, but at the end of the day, it's just another appearance and hopefully another win.
Will you be phoning Nigel to tell him when you overtake him?
He'll already know now, won't he?
Might just feel like another appearance now. When you finish Lee Dixon, it won't. Dennis Bergkamp, by his own high standards, on a scale of 1 to 10, what sort of season has he had?
About 4, I would imagine. I think he'd probably say that himself. He's been all through this contract wrangling when, you know, he just didn't look himself, and he signed a new contract. I thought he showed signs, Bradford, and the last couple of games of coming back to something like his old form. Not quite. And now he's had this spat with Wenger, hasn't he, in the press about trains being like flying almost, and he's took umbrage with that. So it'll be interesting today to see.
Allegedly, I think Arsene Wenger denies that remark, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, I don't know, but Dennis certainly wasn't happy, was he?
Nor was Kanu when he suggested it was one of the reasons why he couldn't score.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it?
Here,
the manager's just saying a few things to get the players' backs up, whether it's a little motivation tactic or not. But for me, he is the best partner to Thierry Henry. He just drops back and those slide ball passes through for Henry's pace. I think that suits the attack best. So interesting to see if Dennis is really up for it today.
Came here as a winger, really. Arsene Wenger fancied him through the middle rather more. Took a while to settle, but he's turned into what? Thierry Henry.
Probably as
world class, maybe. I
would say so. As lethal a striker when he's on form as we've got in the country. Makes a lot of his runs from the wider position, especially from the inside left channel, and then we see get the ball onto his right foot and he opens up and almost slides it past the goalkeeper. But he's a sort of player that once he gets level or away from you, you're never going to catch him up. He does need supply. I would say he's more of a striker that needs feeding rather than will create his own goals. But he'll probably pose the biggest threat this afternoon to Chelsea's back line.
Arsene Wenger reckons there's more to come from Thierry Henry as well.
I would say he's a world-class striker, and part of our problem is that we have 4 world-class strikers. I truly believe that we are all 4 world-class strikers, and they don't get enough games. But Thierry Henry is one. Of course, he's a world-class, really top class. But I still think he can improve 30 or 40% because it's such a huge potential. And sometimes I feel that it is too easy for him, and I would love him to he can become the top of the top, and I would like him to achieve that.
What's too easy for him?
Football.
Really?
I think so, yes, because sometimes when you're too gifted in football, you feel that it doesn't push you always to get at the top of your potential, and when you're a manager, you feel always responsible for your players to go as far as they can. And I still think that Thierry Henry is already a world-class striker, but he still can improve.
Is it too easy for him then, do you think? Is he capable of improving 30 or 40%? What sort of player have we got then?
Well, I think what Arsene's saying is he possesses everything you'd want in a top striker. Your pace, your goal threat, your power. And at times it does look easy. I think what he's saying is to be at the very top of the tree is the more he can give. You know, can he add a little more to his game? And if he can, I mean, then you are talking of somebody who's almost in that very elitist group.
Perhaps just a little laid back, Alan. Is that the suggestion? Perhaps reading between the lines.
Perhaps. You know, he's still.
I just thought you were the right man to ask that. That was all.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but he's still only a young lad, isn't he? I mean, he's worked his way into the French national side now to the extent he's first choice, which says everything in that company. I mean, I don't think it's too easy.
But I think part of that is his personality as well, and you have to take that on board, that certain personalities, you know, do seem laid back, but inside it can mean a lot to him. He might not show that out in the way that he gives off the impression.
Confused state of the transfer system remains just that, very much confused, despite all the various different pronouncements this week. We've heard Arsene Wenger say he'd quit if it went very much against football managers. More on that with Claire Tomlinson.
I think football starts with respect for your fans, for your club, and once you're committed to sign a contract, of course it can happen that after 3-4 years somebody doesn't feel well, somebody doesn't play at all, and you can understand that. But just to get what I did fight against is to give that feeling out that to the fans that clubs are not important anymore and they're just there to pay you as long as you like it. That's not right, and to build a team you need time to build, I think as well for the players, to get real enjoyment. Sometimes it takes time to know each other, to know when to give the ball to your partner, and to develop that kind of communication, that kind of feeling takes time, and just to ignore that factor would be detrimental to football.
You did threaten to quit if everything fell apart, and it was a 3-month notice period. You feel that that's something that won't come about now?
I hope not. I hope not, but I feel as well that in football the players ignored too many things that were happening, and the managers as well. And I'm sorry that we didn't come out as managers and players together to fight against these kind of things. I think the basic problem we have is to be in accordance with the basic EU rules, and I'm scared that no matter what comes out, the first one who will challenge it will win the case. The big question mark at the moment is how can you create a new rule which will be in opposition of the basic EU rule without creating new problems.
Mm-hmm. But football has to be a special case then?
It has to be a special case. That's a basic thing that has to be recognized by EU, and that the rule, what is being created now, cannot be challenged after that.
The idea of transfer windows, do you think that's something that should come in England? Would that help?
I don't think really so, because I think the culture in England is that part of the interest of the game and the passion of the game as well in England is people say, okay, my team didn't start well this year, but we still have a chance because we can buy the right players. And many times when we lose a game, when I drive out the stadium, they shout, Wenger, buy a player, buy a player, buy a striker, buy a defender, buy a midfielder. So I think as well it keeps interest, because as long as you know you can change things, modify things, it keeps people interested in the club because they still have hope.
There's also, of course, been speculation that you will be an international manager one day. Would you not miss the day-to-day working with the players of an international situation?
I'm not interested in international managing at all, unless football becomes not tenable anymore as a manager in the club, and you cannot work anymore. I believe as well that for the chairman, for the directors, for a manager to think you build a team because you have time is what keeps you in the game, and one day you don't have that feeling anymore. I don't think you will enjoy it as much.
Very interesting. Arsene Wenger with Claire Tomlinson. It's not just the only thing they're shouting at him, is it? Buy a player. Perhaps he doesn't understand the rest that they are. Which side of the line are you? That there should be more power for the players, more money, more freedom for the players, or are we a special case?
I think it is a special case, but I like to see the players have the power, which I think is the way is now.
And a few bob more, you mean?
Well, it's the players that are out here today. It's 11 or 16 bodies on each side who all the people are coming to see today. They're not coming to see us, Richard, unfortunately, and chairmen and directors, and so give players the power, but I think as well there has to be that amount of loyalty to contracts, and so people like Wenger can bring in the Vieiras of the world who we didn't really know of, and all of a sudden now he's turned him into a world-class player who the Arsenal fans identify with.
So if this goes through, he can give Arsenal 3 months' notice and clear off.
Exactly, which is never the case. Though I have to say I disagree with Wenger. I like the windows of transfers. I think then you would get more young players coming through if these injuries or suspensions all change, you know. Have your squad of players for that period and work with them, you know, and we all know what's...
I don't really see there's much wrong with the system as it stands. I mean, you've got a position where the players do hold a lot of the power now, but they can walk away at the end of the contracts for for free, obviously with the Bosman ruling. So I don't know. I mean, obviously players take these cases to the Human Rights Court in Europe and what have you, and it is forced to change. But I think it's pretty much spot on as it is, and I wouldn't want to see transfer windows either. I think it adds something to have that, you know, talk through the on the terraces about who we're going to buy and so on. So.
You're trying to talk us to Andy and Martin in case I ask you about who's going to win, aren't you?
I think Arsenal are going to win.
Do you
Why
really?
do you ask?
Because you didn't say that some time back.
I think it'd be a tough one for Arsenal, but they've got a great home record, and if they can get things sorted at the back with Luzhny and Stepanovs, I think they've got enough going forward. Midfield particularly with Parler and Vieira, I think they might win that battle. And with Bergkamp and Henry, I think they've got enough to win the match.
Houdini got out of things.
He did rather, didn't he?
Yeah.
I've changed my mind. I've seen the team sheets. See, Gronkiar makes a big difference to me.
Right, very thoughtful, Alan. We do appreciate that. Chelsea, perhaps for you?
For me, it'll be the team whose defence comes out on top, and I'd have to say, having seen the makeup of the two defences, I'll probably plumb that Chelsea.
And maybe because Chelsea need the cup this year more?
Yeah, a little bit. It means so much more. You know, Arsenal have still got that third spot to go for Champions League. I mean, this is Chelsea's season.
Well, it's the 9th FA Cup meeting between them, and as you'll see, there's nothing at all as far as the history of this tie is concerned. In fact, they've needed replays on the last 4 occasions they've met to separate them. The last time they did play was a quarter-final replay. Arsenal won that. Alan Ball and Ray Kennedy, the goal scorers. January 47, the last time Chelsea won a game against Arsenal in the FA Cup. Tommy Lawton on that afternoon. A third round second replay scoring a couple. Let's join our match commentators, Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Yes, Richard, going back over the history, it's a new experience for me to see Arsenal play Chelsea in the FA Cup. Now, 1973, 28 years ago since it last happened, and there's a real sense of expectation. Of course, with the FA Cup rules, you get a bigger percentage of visiting supporters in the stadium. That should create a tremendous atmosphere, Andy.
Yeah, it did at the Stadium of Light yesterday, Martin. That was one thing I did notice. Normally you go up there and there are 44,000 Sunderland fans and a couple of thousand opponents, but at West Ham United had the whole end of that ground, and it made a huge difference to the atmosphere in the game. And that's one of the things I do like about the FA Cup now, that league matches have fewer and fewer opposing fans there. Should be exciting. There's a lot of talented players on. I hope we just don't get disappointed.
Well, the Arsenal fans will be weighing up the team news, because the Gunners by no means at full strength, particularly at the back with Adams suspended and Keown joined on the injured list by Grimandi. It's a centre-back pairing for the first time of Stepanovs and Luzhny. Ashley Cole continues at left-back, though Silvinho is back in training. Ray Parler, the main midfield absentee. That's an area where Arsene Wenger has plenty of other options. Thierry Henry plays in the FA Cup for the first time this season, and Dennis Bergkamp, after being surplus to Arsenal's requirements in France last Tuesday, is also in today.
Well, a lot of talent on this field from both sides, Martin, but there's an area where for years there's been communication and conversation. It's been at the heart of that defence with Keown and Adams. But I think when you look at Stepanovs and Luzhny, at least the one thing they do have in common is dialogue. They can't talk to each other. It's an area where it's vitally important that you do have conversation and communication. So that's a plus. Watch for Dixon and Cole. Not playing as fullbacks as much, man, but I think both of those will try and get forward as often as possible. In midfield, well, there are lots of areas that might be important. This, I think, more than ever. If there's a difference in the two teams, I think it might be in that area where I do believe Arsenal have quicker, faster players, younger players who may get across the ground quicker than maybe their Chelsea counterparts. That'll be something to watch. It's a good mix. A lot of talent, a lot of players who can run with the ball, beat players, others good passers of the ball, but goals right along the quartet, either of them capable of scoring the winning goal. I agree with Alan Smith that I do think, all things being equal, Bergkamp is the best partner for Thierry Henry, because he's not a partner as such, because he's a supplier for Henry, someone that Henry loves to play with, because he knows as soon as Dennis gets it, he can start making runs in behind, because ultimately Bergkamp will find him. Got to stop Bergkamp playing Chelsea today.
Mindful of the tactical adjustments that were needed in the Premiership game here recently, Claudio Ranieri starts today with 4 at the back, with Frank Leboeuf losing out in the switch. Gus Poyet and Slaviša Jokanovic return to midfield. But Jesper Gronkiar, who gave Manchester United plenty to think about last weekend, is held in reserve this time. It's Hasselbank and Zola up front.
Well, I, like most of the people on the ground, and Lee Dixon in particular are really surprised to see Gronkjaer sitting on the bench. It may be a suggestion, Martin, that they're not trying to win the game in the first half hour of this match, that they don't want to be out of it. And that's why, along with three very experienced defenders, John Terry at 20 has done particularly well. Huge boost to this young man to be picked ahead of Frank Leboeuf, Desailly's World Cup winning partner. And that's a back four that know each other well and should play well alongside with Kudacini at the back. In midfield, again, they've got a certain amount of youth, but vastly experienced. 32, 33 and 34, Wise, Jukanovic and Poyet. And they're vastly experienced, that trio. Sam Dalabona has played all his football from a central midfield role attacking. It'll be interesting to see how he copes with Claudio Ranieri's perspective. You play, but you might have to play somewhere you're not happy with in my team. Dalabona is playing right-hand side today. We'll see how often he stays there. And up front, well, again, much like Bergkamp and Henry, I think this is the best partnership. Zola and Hasselbank, for the same reasons. Zola likes to drop deep. Zola likes to be a provider. Hasselbank's a bit of a loner, loves to forage up front on his own. And when these two play well, much like Bergkamp and Henry, well, we could be some fireworks here today.
Well, the West Ham contingent can be relaxing with their place in the quarter-final. Frank Lampard Senior.
I know why he's been sent. You know, Harry said, you better go to Highbury because we're about to draw them away next round.
That's a terrific achievement for West Ham to win at Old Trafford and at the Stadium of Light. And David Dean enjoying a chat with Sven-Göran Eriksson, whose scouting mission continues. Madrid, Valencia, Rome, White Hart Lane yesterday. Now Highbury, all in the last 6 days. Surely he'll be glad to get out on a training ground again. And that starts a week tomorrow with Eriksson's England getting together prior to the match against Spain at Villa Park, which you can see, of course, live here on Sky Sports. Well, Chelsea started very poorly here 5 weeks ago. They'll want to avoid that, and their supporters who've been up and down the country with more maybe hope than expectation, but many of these, of course, would have been at Gillingham in round 4 when Chelsea did win away. Their travel sickness has been well documented, but they finished, as I say, strongly here in the Premiership 5 weeks ago, and had that game gone on much longer, they could well have beaten Arsenal at Highbury, something that they've never done in the FA Cup.
Well, what we've got, Martin, are two pretty much form sides. Much has been made of Arsenal's good form recently, but I think you have to compliment Claudio Ranieri and Chelsea. 1 defeat in the last 8. I mean, that's pretty solid form to take into a London derby.
A bit like the old times for Arsenal, 1-0 to the Arsenal in each of their last 3 matches. Well, Lee Dixon and David Seaman have important experience to impart. Arsenal irresistible at home in the Premiership, but it has been a different story here in the FA Cup. In the last 6 seasons, they've played 11 games at Highbury in this competition and won only 3 of them. They didn't win at home in the season that they won the Cup, and the double at 98. Well, the 7th of this weekend's 8 quarter-finals, and it's a top-notch London derby. The holders have come to Highbury. It's Arsenal against Chelsea, and it's live right after the break. 5 weeks ago, Chelsea conceded an early goal to Robert Pires here. He's the subject of our player cam for Sky Digital Viewers, channel 404, and in that Premiership game, but for Carlo Cudicini, they would have been swept away in the first half. But then John Terry equalised, and Arsenal have not conceded a goal since then. 6 successive clean sheets for David Seaman. That was a fine game, and every prospect of the same here in the FA Cup this afternoon. The match under the control of Graham Barber. The 9th time these clubs have been paired together in the FA Cup. 4 successes apiece in the past for Arsenal and Chelsea, but never an away win. They clash in a season that's developing promisingly for the London clubs. West Ham in the last 8, and Spurs, Wimbledon with a fighting chance of joining them. And will it be Arsenal or Chelsea? Here's Vieira. Ashley Cole. Ljungberg with Dixon just holding outside him and not really carrying the early fight forward for Arsenal on the overlap then that he had perhaps the chance to do.
I think he won't be shy going forward in this match, Lee Dixon, particularly with Gus Poyet playing at the left side. He loves to go forward, Poyet, and I think will continue to do so. If he does, he gets caught ahead of the game, and I think Dixon will be looking to break in down this side as often as possible.
Desai can let it run. It's been a much better week of weather in the southeast of England. Dry for 5 days in a row. Certainly worthy of mention in this particular winter. The usual impeccable Highbury playing surface. Jimmy Floyd-Hasselbank has certainly done some damage to Arsenal in the past, but he did fail to score in the recent league game here. That's the first time he failed to score in 6 attempts for Leeds and Chelsea against the Gunners. Vukanovic. Babayaro. Vukanovic again. Poyet. Chelsea trying to settle for their passing game. Feder has got Wise ahead of him. Galabona has started on the right. He's too far forward here, the young Italian, and he's offside.
I tell you, if Dennis Wise had been able just to play it first time instead of taking the touch, Martin, then you see by taking the touch, it's very close. You can see Luzhny in the middle, or is it Stepanov's just stepping up to get him offside?
Vukanovic just flicking it forward. Easy take for Stepanov, but Wise biting in. Now Zola. Galabona blocked by Vieira. Perez getting the better of Ferrer, and here come Arsenal. Bergkamp furthest forward in the middle. In fact, he's the only Arsenal player in the penalty area. Trying to make it awkward for Desai. Whistle's gone, no goal. Seen as a foul by Bergkamp. Through the eyes of Graham Barber.
Yeah, he's probably right, the referee. It's close though, because he does, well, it does get away from Desai, the first touch here a little bit. You see how it goes away from his body, Martin. And it's just a tangle of legs as much as anything.
Would it have been given outside the penalty area? Rather doubt it. Hasselbank. That's Lauren penalised. Wise under challenge from Vieira, but he got the pass away to Ferrer. Zola. Hasselbank. Poyet coming in from the other side. Jimmy Floyd-Hasselbank stayed on his feet, but in the end ran out of room.
Good defending, Ashley Cole. Get caught ahead of play a little in that build-up, but how quickly he recovered to get in Hasselbank's face and make it difficult for him.
Well, they're well served with left-backs, of course, Arsenal, which is why they allowed the evergreen Nigel Winterburn to go to West Ham, and of course he's still in the FA Cup. Cleared by Terry. Vieira assessing the bounce and the time that was available to him. Poyet. Babayaro moving outside it. Hasselbank. Poyet was wheeling away through the middle for a return pass. Then if it had come quickly, it might have caught Arsenal out.
Good change of play, Dennis Wise though. Spotted Zola away on the right hand side, changed the play brilliantly. Superb pass.
Desai. 2 league games between the 2 London rivals here, both drawn this season, both largely as a result of tactical changes late on by the away manager. Arsene Wenger threw on attackers galore at Stamford Bridge to claw back a 2-0 deficit. Finished 2-2. And then Claudio Ranieri made the switch at half-time here. Chelsea came here with 3 at the back in the Premiership. But the players have been watching the video and the team bus coming to the ground today of the second half of the league game, not the first half. Feel that Chelsea have a particular focus on this competition as the holders, as maybe the main chance. They're 9th in the league still, of qualifying for Europe again, although this is a very tough test for them. Arsenal playing this FA Cup game in between 2 very important Champions League matches.
In an ideal world, they certainly wouldn't have wanted that. The players might be, I think, slightly negative at first, but I think when they get into the meat of the game, Mark, I think Wednesday was forgotten about. This is a huge, high-profile match that they wouldn't want to lose here.
There were some speculative thoughts that Thierry Henry wouldn't be played today because of the Champions League commitments. And the fact that he hasn't appeared in the 2 other FA Cup games for Arsenal this season, but it's Hasselbank at one end, Henry at the other.
We'll see a bit of that. Doesn't accept decisions too easily if he feels hard done by Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. But yeah, I think you're right about Henry's inclusion. When I arrived here, I was thinking exactly the same. Would we be seeing Thierry Henry? It's a measure of Arsene Wenger's commitment to win this game at the first time of asking that man there is playing.
I'd have to say, which is the more difficult of the 2 games? Home to Chelsea, home to Lyon. And I would venture to say that it would be this one. Which is the more important? Well, that's for Arsene Wenger to assess. But I guess, Andy, you were brought up in the game that the next game is the most important one. Bergkamp. And Desai taking a chance then. That was unusually sloppy from him. And here's Lauren. Well measured by Marcel that time, but Dixoning quickly on Poyet. And crossing early too. Ferrer heads away. Lauren. Pires. The air is in some space. Lauren's wheeled away to the left-hand side, and it's his ball that is claimed by Carlo Cudicini, who's played in both the league games against Arsenal this season and is now in the Chelsea side as the first choice. Luzhny and Stepanovs. That's certainly a key area for Arsenal. Andy was referring to the ability to communicate in Russian. Luzhny is from the Ukraine and Stepanovs from Latvia. They do share that linguistic skill.
I think it's can you get at them. It's one thing to identify a possible weakness in a side, Martin. It's another to expose it. They'll get good protection, the 2 centre-backs, particularly from Patrick Vieira. It's outstanding at that, patrolling across the front of the back four.
Zola.
There's the one thing with Poyet playing on the left-hand side. They will get very, very narrow ahead of Celestine Babayaro. I don't think you'll find very often Babayaro able to play a ball outside him. Almost 90% of the match he will play balls infield. Will Sam Dalabona give him that little bit of width in the right? We wait to see.
And he will certainly give Arsenal some thrust through the centre, and here he comes. Already given Chelsea some serious problems in past fixtures. This comes Luzhny. He's not played in the Arsenal first team since that match at Anfield just before Christmas. Vieira. One of the remaining members of Arsenal's cup-winning side of '98. Involved involved in this game.
Good movement from Zola. Got the delivery from his mate just off target. And that's what they would want to try and do, isolate two centre-backs and be 1v1 against them.
Good tackle on Lauren by the long-legged Jukanovic. Bonner came careering in, made it his. Poyet, tucked away by Luzhny.
Well, you don't hang a leg out in a tackle in a match like this. Actually, Cole just didn't go in strong enough. Bonner certainly did.
Ferrer, Dalabona, all in quickly and crisply.
One each. Those two. That's going to be an interesting tussle, isn't it? Dalabona 20, Cole 21.
I think Chelsea are mindful, Andy, of the way Perez comes in from that left midfield role, allowing Ashley Cole to come forward, or Silvino if he'd played. And maybe Dalabona's got some instructions to just block off that space should Perez make those moves. Ferrer there, of course, as well. Natural-born defender, if ever there was one. Cole. Flag had gone up. I think had gone out of play. A great test for either of these clubs so far in the competition. Chelsea got the better of Peterborough 5-0, and they had a latest second half scare at Gillingham. 4-2 was sufficient after being 3-0 up. Arsenal won narrowly at Carlisle and heavily at Queen's Park Rangers. Zola, Hasselbank's offside.
I'll tell you what, they've worked well at those two in the centre of that defence. It could almost been Adams and Keown, Martin, but Lee Dixon's very close here. Watch Lee Dixon, he just goes back there. Look at the right back, and then he suddenly thinks, hold on a minute, I'm not supposed to be back here. Up goes that familiar right arm.
I'm supposed to be standing still with my arm in the air.
Got away with it.
There's Desai with his arm in the air, standing still then, and there was no flag. Now, of course, Bergkamp didn't get to the ball, so the assistant might have not felt the need to indicate. Dalabon. Knocked forward by Stepanovs. Desai off the chest of Poyet. Lauren strong against Babayaro. There's a back pass by Desai. Henry trying to backheel it for Bergkamp. In goes Vieira. Ljungberg's early ball deflects off Babayaro. Terry was struggling to clear it, and Dalabona. Vieira just changed his mind as he was looking initially for a left-footed volley. Arsenal still have the pressure that came from the back pass. In the end, it is Desai who gets a bit of distance to a clearance in the right direction.
It's a schoolboy error from one of the most experienced and best central defenders I've certainly seen.
Cole. Desai was started off the ball there, blocking Henry off cleverly. Arsenal setting the pace here. Dixon. A lot of defending for Desai in particular to do at the moment. Pires. Got a good record against Chelsea, both for Arsenal and for Marseille. Perez takes over again. Vieira. And he played by Jukanovic, who wasn't going to be fooled by Vieira trying to roll past him. Arsenal in the mood at the moment. Ljungberg.
Good spell from the home side. First real bit of sustained pressure either side's had to endure.
Vieira's got to play it. Maybe hoping that it would run behind for the goal kick. Vieira. Hasselbank trying to get away from Luzhny. Henry. Perez looking to burst away. Dalabona trying to curb that forward momentum. Ljungberg straying across.
Finds himself, Martin, as well. Way over left side.
That's one of those where you shout fetch if you're an opponent. Well, he's had a lot to do already, Marcel Desailly. Not all of it with his normal aplomb, it must be said. And he's our player cam subject. A digital view of channel 404.
Just rather casual a couple of times, I felt, Marcel Desailly. He does give the impression that this job's easy. He's such an accomplished footballer. It just shows you that even the best make fundamental errors.
Bergkamp. Well, he does recognise Thierry Henry's need to get the ball early. I think Dennis Bergkamp was best pleased not to be involved in France in midweek. And there were other means of transport available to him, the non-flying Dutchman. Wenger said, no, we don't want you, you can stay behind, presumably with this match very much in mind. Absolutely. Wise. Reached by Stepanov, Zola was looking for the ball, dropped over the Latvian. Wise. Stepanovs and Zola again. Tidy play. Regarded as a stand-in at the moment, although he has been needed, particularly with Keown out for a while. Not eligible to play in the Champions League. So this represents a good opportunity for him to stake a claim in more domestic matters. Bergkamp. That's a fine piece of work again from John Terry, who's getting more and more mentions in dispatches. Just signed a new contract, long-term one too. And all of those days of long-term contracts might be a thing of the past if this transfer dispute still goes on.
Well, Albert Ferrer, we talked about what a dogged defender as he is, that and every bit of it, but he's just given away one or two free kicks for no real reason. Players just backing into him, and he's, instead of just standing up, being strong, he's getting caught into giving free kicks away, and that's just adding pressure.
Arsenal got one or two over at the back here if it goes deep. Comes by at the head of Dalabona too, one of those who was watching and waiting on the other side of the pitch, Robert Pires.
Well, it's a kind of area we saw Idago Johnson smash one in. He's got time to take two touches if he wants them, Robert Pires. As much time as he likes, but he decides to go on the half volley. It's always difficult to control it, keep it down. Just a bit sloppy with their mark in Chelsea there.
Poyet. Zola. Did go up against Hasselbank. Cole got to the ball in any case.
Well, there hasn't been much in it up till the last 5 minutes, Martin, but you can see from that the pressure beginning to mount on Chelsea. Just a touch. Switch play here.
From Pires to Ljungberg. Dixon goes round the outside and is found by Freddie Ljungberg. Dixon's cross. Bergkamp was watching from a deeper position. He's involved now with the pass to Ljungberg. Out comes Cudicini, and he was conscious of taking the ball out of his area. It didn't matter because Graham Barber has blown.
Well, when you're Lee Dixon and you make up that kind of move, and that's exactly what I talked about, they can get in beyond Babayaro when Poyet's not there, Mark. I think this has got goal written all over it. I think if you're not putting anyone in there, both players go near post, but that's got goal. 7 yards out, level with the back post, head height. You need someone going in on the back of that.
It has been said about Arsenal, Andy, that they don't head goals anymore, but in 3 of the last 4 goals have been from headers.
Well, what I think they do now, Mark, I think they've recognised that, and Arsene Wenger, I've chatted to him before this season when Anelka was here, about the lack of headed goals Nicholas Anelka got. I don't think he got one at Arsenal, maybe one. And it is something that he's recognised, and I think what they've done in recent months is decided to put more crosses in. But it does take a little bit of time if you've not been used to them coming in to get men in there.
That was headed the winner in France in midweek. Bergkamp headed the winner at Coventry, and Lauren scored here, was it against Bradford recently with a header.
I do think they put more balls in there and say get in after them. It just lacked. All it needed there was a midfield runner, and he's coming in free back post.
Still closing down on Desai. And Barber wasn't sure. Advice from Phil Sharp, the assistant on the far side, before giving Chelsea the throw. Zola. Hasselback. It's the same assistant, incidentally, who ruled out Gianfranco Zola's spectacular effort against Manchester United that the ball had gone out for a throw. Vieira.
If we can change the play, Martin. Vieira could only have noticed Robert Perez and absolutely acres on the left-hand side. Just couldn't. He wasn't able to have a little look.
Dixon. Nicely laid off by Bergkamp. Bloomberg stopped solidly by Babayaro, trying to turn defending into counter-attacking. Poyet. Dalabona coming in from the right-hand side. Cole saw him coming. And the ball travelled a long way.
Just came back. Offside position when the ball was played. Came back. Got in front of the Chelsea defender. That's why he looked not off.
Wise. Blocked by Stepanov, so it's back to Dennis Wise again. What a good header by Lee Dixon.
My goodness, he must have known, Martin. But Gus Poyet, a header of some great goals at Chelsea in his career here, was really coming in at the back of him. You could bet your life Wise was not going to make a mess of it twice. Lovely ball, back post. Very big header defensively from Lee Dixon.
In the Premiership 5 weeks ago, Chelsea got their goal at this end of the ground from a Dennis Wise corner. David Seaman had difficulties dealing with it. John Terry eventually forced the ball home, and it's Wise putting it into the same sort of area. And Bergkamp gets a second chance to clear. More measured, but still not accurate with the second attempt. Perez picked out by the goalkeeper. Lara.
Anything big. Anything big over John Terry, and Bergkamp's onto it.
Lara onto that one. Perez. Henry waiting in the centre. Thierry Henry. Ljungberg has scuffed it.
Well, I just wonder if Perez just... He just would take his eyes off it just a touch. It's a lovely break from Chelsea. The ball's slightly behind everyone, so they really have to stop. But just here I'm wondering, now I have to say it's a clear shot, but rather scuffed.
Not scored yet in the FA Cup. Freddie Ljungberg, that was a chance to get his first in the competition. Trying to make something of a scrap there. Lee Dixon was the Arsenal player involved in the challenge. Flipped forward by Dixon. Back by Dixon. On from Hasselbank. Talk about Arsenal getting goals with headers. Of course, Hasselbank started to do it. Heading in at Leicester and at home to Manchester United in his last 2 games. Here's Pires. Made good ground. And it's Babayaro who gets his head to it when we're wondering about another Arsenal header there.
Well, we've seen 2 wonderful crosses, one from the right from Dixon and this one from Pires. Lovely play again, the way they opened them up. With Vieira to Pires, he provides a wonderful ball. That's an easy header at the end. We might have expected more pressure, Babayaro, than he got.
Pires from the deep corner. Desai has some ground to make that his. Vieira, Henry, Bergkamp, Pires going to the left. Arsenal have got plenty of players forward here.
Just lost it. Just a bit heavy with the touch. Give Ferrer a chance. Lovely break again.
Henry. It's behind Pires and Zola. I haven't seen too much of Chelsea as an attacking force. Poyet. We're just saying chase that to Hasselbank.
Good strong play from Stepanov. There's no doubt that Arsenal have been the better side. The better football and attacking terms has come from them. But the important thing from Chelsea is it's still a clean sheet, not conceded.
Dixon. Bergkamp. Won't stay on his feet, having taken the pace off the pass. Poyet. Zola is furthest forward for Chelsea. Hasselbank. There's a raised foot by Dixon, which Graham Barber has taken exception to here.
Well, it's really a nothing challenge. The halfway line, he isn't going anywhere. A bit harsh, I have to say.
And unnecessary, really, from Dixon's point of view. Hasselbank tight against the touchline, no great threat to Arsenal. Jokanovic. Trying a flick when something a bit more substantial was really required. Alabona and Wise have switched positions for the moment.
Well, that might be tactically. We'll wait and see. But certainly no coincidence that Robert Pires has been joined. Quite a bit of play on that left-hand side. And Arsenal build-up down there has been good and profitable. Now, is it because of that Claudio Ranieri has got one of his more experienced players to fill in there ahead of Albert Ferrer and say to him, hey, you've got to put a stop to this, Dennis. This is going to cost us if we don't.
Putting a stop to Thierry Henry there was John Terry very capably. Zola.
I think it's all that thing about putting round pegs and square holes, Martin, and that, sometimes, all right, you should expect players to be able to play certain positions in a football pitch. And if you haven't played right side midfield player, and then you're suddenly asked to do so against some pretty good quality, it can be tough for you. I think Sam Dalabona's found that.
And it might be tough for Wise as well. He played wide right here in the first half of the league game, but with a back 3 behind him, so he had a lot of defensive responsibilities. Then he's got Ferrer as a right back behind him in this setup for Chelsea today. This is the area of the pitch that we're referring to. Pires. Vieira. Chelsea cope. Alabona couldn't release the pass, but it ran the way of Jokanovic, and there's some space here for Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. Jokanovic hit it hard and true. And Seaman didn't stop it straight away. It bounced off the goalkeeper, but not far enough away to cause Arsenal any alarms.
He just took the sting out of it. Just took the sting out of the goalkeeper. That's all he was doing.
Ivanovic, who had the shot, then raising the same boot too high against Ljungberg.
And that's what's capable when you're talking about teams of this quality. You can dominate possession, you can dominate territorially, as Arsenal have done for half an hour in this match. It only takes a break like that, 2 passes, and you could be conceding a goal at the other end. That's why 2 centre-backs always have got to be thinking defensively in a game like this.
Perez takes. And diving in was Ljungberg.
I was saying his shirt was pulled. There were a lot of decisions like that yesterday at the Stadium of Light concerning Niall Quinn. Was the shirt been pulled or not? Very much like that. I mean, you see, I think that's a free kick, Martin. I think it's a penalty. I think it's a penalty. End of story. It's a penalty. You get hauled like that. But referees, I think, just take the easy option 90% of the time and don't make no decision.
Well, if you want to keep a special eye on Freddie Ljungberg, these are player cam facilities. If you're watching on Sky Digital, channel 404. Focus on the Arsenal midfield man. Perez. That's one up to Albert Ferrer.
Just run out of ground here. Gets up to the edge of the area and you think, is he going to do something? Is he going to shift the ball? Ferrer does something right. Just uses his body strength, upper body strength, just to ease him out.
And he's the one on his feet at the end as Perez went tumbling without any real touch. Moved forward by Dixon, but not beyond Jokanovic. Ljungberg. Henry able to take that one down. There's a fine ball for Ljungberg. Wins a corner, I thought, first up off Babayaro, but Graham Barber has seen a bit more in that.
I thought corner myself, Martin. I have to say I agreed with you there. Whether he accidentally stands on him here as they go, but when he's looking to just nutmeg him here, I think that's a perfectly legitimate, good tackle. Hadn't got an argument with it. But I think as he walks past here, he just catches him there. Wait to see Ljungberg's reaction. I don't think there was anything in it. If he's given a free kick, I don't think that's the decision. But they'll be looking for something from a pretty positive first half, Arsenal. They'll feel that they might well have deserved to take the lead. Well, you see it there. Well, only, as I say often in football, it's easy to judge with pictures, but only that man knows whether there was any real intent in that or not. And it does give Bergkamp the opportunity to put pressure on here. Now, he's not finished, Graham Barber. He wants Ljungberg to go off, to come back on again. Yeah, that's really speeded the game up. Well done, ref. Speed the game up brilliantly, that guys. Keeps it going, flowing.
Speaking with heavy irony, Mr. Andy Gray. Arsenal one light. In the middle from Bergkamp's free kick. Ball out. Ljungberg not got the signal to get back on yet. It's Zola. He dallied. Vieira didn't. Ljungberg's waved on. Bergkamp, Lauren can't get there. Jokanovic plays with a certain amount of economy. He's not the quickest player you'll see on a 5th round FA Cup tie, but he's a very shrewd and experienced customer. given the ball away there this time, and he puts up his hand to apologise for that fact.
I'm just thinking, I was looking at Ashley Cole there, Mark, when Chelsea broke. We know that the England coach is here today watching again, an area where England have had problems for more than a year or so, trying to find enough fullbacks to play if they play a 4, which England coaches, we believe, does prefer. But again there, his hold-up play on Zola, didn't rush into the tackle, backed away, had a look around and waited till enough Arsenal players had got back and then went to confront Zola. Very good defender.
Henry. On that subject, Andy, just in passing, Graham Rousseau had a reserve game for Chelsea, and on the Wednesday, I think it was, he's fully fit again now. A left-sided candidate for England. Babayaro improvised well. Certainly not the most popular player at Highbury at the moment. Oh, and now Wise follows into Cole.
It's taken a while again to warm up in that respect, but a couple of little incidents, 2 events involving Babayaro, 1 Wise. I mean, I have to say it's much ado about nothing, but this is the incident at the other end, and well, does Babayaro do anything? Yeah, he does. Well, that's crazy, absolutely crazy. If Graham Barber spots that, he's probably off, he's probably given a penalty away, and his team are probably 1 down.
Bergkamp pressing Desailly. Here is Babayaro. Doing, on that occasion, the sensible thing. And as the ball was played forward by Wise then, Hero's just a little bit late.
That's more like it. It's warming up now. Well done, Dennis. That's what I like. See somebody get the game warming up.
Taking his new role on the right-hand side a little too seriously now. Henry maybe wanting to speak up for Pires, which was a stupid decision, really. And it's suddenly going off at Highbury.
Well, I'm not so sure what Henry's getting involved in there, Martin, I have to say. I mean, it's absolutely stupid. There hasn't been a tackle worth the name in the game so far. It's been push and shove and handbags. Petty. Oh, when I said the game was warming up nicely, I didn't mean it should warm up like this. This is ridiculous.
Well, Phil Sharp, the assistant, giving his explanation to Graham Barber.
Still going off in there, Martin. Cole's in there. Babayaro's getting involved, Terry's getting involved. It's easier to pinpoint the players that aren't involved.
Well, how serious is Graham Barber going to view all this?
Well, Hasselbank's the first one to get called over, which, well, I don't know how far away he was from the initial incident, but
he looks staggered, but he's got a yellow card. And Wise.
Well, I guess Henry will be another. That's a certainty. Well, there's passion out there, and there's a desire, but it can go just a touch too far, particularly for nothing. That's what I mean about there hasn't been a tackle in the game that's warranted that kind of reaction from either side.
Well, it just seemed that Wise, had he got his free kick? How's Graham Barber going to restart all this? And then he and Pires were exchanging views as much as can be. Pires not a great speaker of English.
There's nothing wrong with that. People verbally having a little dig at each other in a football match.
But Thierry Henry came a long way to join in the conversation. And there is something wrong with that, Andy, I feel.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. That's what I said. I don't know what the effort he's doing coming all that distance to get involved on a nothing incident.
to say. Cole concentrating on the ball and getting proper applause from the Arsenal fans for the header, but particularly because it was against Wise. Vieira running into some traffic. Dalabona. 5 minutes to go to half-time. Put up by Jokanovic again, and then he tried to stop Patrick Vieira taking the free kick quickly, and Barber reaches for the card again.
I have to say, Martin, you know, sometimes, all right, players have got to go back, but when the ball drops like that, the whistle goes, and someone tries to take it instantly. I don't know what much Jokanovic could have done there. He couldn't have sprinted back 10 yards in that short time. Not even Lunsford Christie could have done that at his best.
And they've moved it forward 10 yards. Under the new legislation this season, which does apply in the FA Cup. I saw that, of course, in the Fulham-Manchester United game in the third round here in the capital. Stepanovs on Hasselbank.
I think the ref needs half-time as much as anybody here, Martin, I have to say.
Well, we do, to write down all these names. Looking for Stepanovs. Wise with the free kick, headed on by Hasselbank. The need for cool heads here. Bergkamp, Ljungberg. Henry.
I was just thinking how Wise might that, how explosive, sorry, that confrontation on the far side might be second half, Martin, with Wise and Perez facing up to each other time and time again.
It's a free kick against Arsenal, as you can tell from the crowd. And I don't know whether Perez has got a bit of a reputation in the game for a player who can be softened up a little bit. There was an incident at Leeds United in which David O'Leary allegedly was involved.
Well, if he has, it'll be tested.
Yes.
There's no doubt about that. Mental strength is all part and parcel of modern day football.
Stepanovs. Now Bergkamp. Off goes Henry. Back goes Ferrer, and free kick against Thierry Henry. His thoughts on the matter he must keep to himself, because he was booked in that rash of yellow cards over the last few minutes.
Right, there was a little nudge there. Not much. Wasn't quite the coming together of shoulders.
Vieira forcing his way through the Chelsea midfield, which didn't resist. He could have gone left. And through the centre, it needed to be a perfectly weighted pass to give Bergkamp any chance. It wasn't quite that.
Well, the one he chose was a killer ball that would have brought the goal immediately. But certainly Henry to his left was a pretty appealing target. A lovely break. That's what I talked about. Maybe central midfield across that line, Mark, where getting across the grass better, easier, quicker. Arsenal have done today with that quartet. You know, Poyet, Jokanovic, Dalabona, Wise, have all had trouble at various times in coping with the running power of the Arsenal quartet.
In the first half of many stoppages. It's almost come to an end, but the Lee Dixon's got an opportunity here to test out Chelsea again. And that's Terry and Bergkamp Maybe trying a bit of kidology. Maybe there were hands-on by the young Chelsea defender. Hard one to call for the referee. Pires. Knocked away by Dixon. Now trying to retrieve it. He used a hand. The assistant should have seen it really. I think it was hard for Graham Barber to spot. Henry. So we're into stoppage time before half-time. Who possibly was the catalyst for the change of temper from even to bad. Jokanovic. Zola, it's a fine ball for Dennis Wise. Hasselbank goes near post. Ball comes off Cole's head for Zola. Hard to take on the half volley.
Well, for the mere mortal it is, but for someone with that guy's ability, it certainly wouldn't have surprised me, Martin, if he'd have got control of it. By that, I mean, don't mean bringing it down, but getting across it and over the top of it. It's just a bit more than a half volley, as you could see.
Yes, it was on the up. And it went further up. Dixon.
A bit heavy.
Pires hasn't given it up. Has he stopped Chelsea having a goal kick, or has it?
No, his flags went up.
Well, of the opening half an hour, I guess Arsenal will feel they had the better of things by some distance in terms of territory, not really in terms of making chances. Chelsea trying to be compact. Ranieri with 4 at the back. He's had to make a midfield adjustment just to switch with Dalabona and Wise.
What we'll see, I think, as we go on in the second half is when and if Claudio Ranieri wants to win the match. I think he might keep it as it is, and we're talking about Kroenke in particular on this left-hand side. With lack field penetration anywhere along there, and it's been comfortable for Arsenal for most of it.
Dixon fell on the ball. He's been penalised for hands.
Well, this is all. Arsenal need to concentrate here. They've been the dominant force first half, and deep into stoppage time. They would not want to concede a goal.
All but Henry back for Arsenal. Zola takes it. David Seaman came out strongly. And Graham Barber sends 2 groups of players off to calm down at half-time. It was Arsenal's opening half an hour, and then Babayaro rather set up an ill-tempered spell, which maybe will be the abiding memory of the first 45 minutes. Wise involved, as you would expect. Pires also, and several others. But no goals to report at the break between Arsenal and Chelsea in the 5th round of the FA Cup.
Plenty to talk about, though, with Alan Smith and Robbie Earle when we come back. Half-time here at Highbury. It is Arsenal 0, Chelsea 0. What a Sunday next week today. Arsenal we are with again at Old Trafford this time. 12 o'clock start on Sky Sports 1. That's from the Premiership, of course. We've got the Worthington Cup final from Cardiff. Birmingham play Liverpool. 2 o'clock start on Sky Sports 2. And finally, Celtic against Hibs. 5:30, Sky Sports 1. No goals, but a very fiery 5-10 minutes or so going into half-time. Arsenal, for the most part, have lost it. 6 attempts. They've only hit the target once, mind you, from those. 6 bookings already, 3 apiece. 3 in that little ruck. off at half-time. Robbie Earle and Alan Smith, our guests here at half-time. So we shouldn't talk about boxing matches, I don't think. That's probably not in the right test. But half-time, about right, goalless?
About right. Arsenal, I think, just had the upper hand, but Chelsea would say they didn't create that many open opportunities to score goals. So lots of possession, but not so many great opportunities.
Frustration for Arsenal. 3 decisions, Alan, perhaps, that went their way. Well, a couple weren't seen, but all involving Babayara. Now, Andy said this was a penalty. We saw a couple like this at the Stadium of Light yesterday. Is it, in your opinion?
Well, it's stone cold certainty. It's whether the ref sees it or not, and whether the referee's got the courage to give a penalty. You know, he would do outside the box. There's no doubt about it. He's all over Lundberg.
These were the other 2 incidents. Look, nothing wrong there. But as you keep your eyes in now, not wishing to get players in trouble, but we've seen others elsewhere in different games getting in trouble for that.
The linesman's 10 yards away here, isn't he? And
if that's intentional.
Whether he's seen it or not, I don't know, but you would expect him to give it. And this is just plain silly, isn't it, really? Because he could have easily given a penalty away here. It's just about nothing, is it?
I think at times for Chelsea, their frustration has taken over their football, and they've been a little bit too touchy and too much passion, and almost forgot their football game plan.
And then the incident on the far side, which we've done our best to try and sort out. This is where it starts. Tackled by Perez on Dennis Wise.
I mean, that's a foul. He's left his foot in Perez. It's not like Wisey to have anything to say about it, is it? So he goes across and...
It's great when he's in your team, isn't he?
Exactly. Not so great when he's against it, because you know what you're going to get, but he's always going to put his foot in and compete. And then maybe I think there's a bit of bad blood because Thierry Henry...
There's obviously a conversation going on there, isn't there?
Exactly.
Henry joins at this point now. There we are.
He's come a long way to get involved, Henry, and then it's a matter of push and shove, and all of a sudden, you know, there's a group of players getting involved.
It's about nothing, isn't it, at the end of the day? I mean, I'm not sure how much Perez understood. His English isn't too clever, but it's just a standoff frustration as much as anything. Difficult for the ref because there were so many involved, weren't there? You know, but he sorted them out.
So if Arsenal want to win it first time around, what do they do at this stage?
I mean, I think they've delivered some good balls into the area, and you know, headed chances where the players just haven't been attacking the ball. They've got down these channels quite well. I think if they carry on doing that, they will carve out some chances.
Might Ranieri change it? He likes to.
I think so. We talked about Grunkior. That's an opportunity. Adds a bit of pace. And when a game's like this and it's very touching, people want to dive in for tackles. If you've got pace and if you've got the ability to go past your opposite number, it can open the game up. So I'm sure that's an opportunity that he may look at. Also, Gudjonsson's on the bench. You know, he scored 2 goals in the last round. Zola hasn't been as effective as I thought he would. Maybe that might be a change we'll see later in the game.
It's goalless at half-time here at Highbury. The second half of this 5th round FA Cup tie comes up next. Time then for the second half of Arsenal against Chelsea, a Sky Sports production available in widescreen, Dolby surround sound, and it's interactive for Sky Digital viewers on channel 404. News of 2 changes for Chelsea as we rejoin Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Yes, Richard, Chelsea bringing on 2 players who each scored twice in the 4th round of the FA Cup. Jesper Grunkior, who actually made his Chelsea debut here in the league game 5 weeks ago, and Eidur Gudjonsson, with Gianfranco Zola off, and also Sam Dallabonna. Well, just when it was boiling up into a very interesting football match in the first half, we had 5 minutes of feuding, 6 yellow cards. Poyet now on the right-hand side. Wise had a foot raised.
Poyet's going to get booked here, Mark. They're certainly going to get spoken to. I felt sorry for Dennis Wise. The ball bounced here, and Dennis Wise quite clearly won the ball cleanly. So I'm not so sure. Watch your ball as it bounces here. In he comes, look at that. He's pushed the ball away. Won it cleanly. Clearly. He's getting involved with Vieira. A little spat between the 2 of them. Well, I said just before half-time we'd got an idea when Claudio Ranieri felt he could go and win the game, Martin, and have a bigger say in it. Well, Kroenke, would you want to mention, he's on. I think that's a clever substitution in respect that he's playing against a guy who's been booked, i.e. Lee Dixon. If he can get the ball to Kroenke and he can go at Dixon and commit him, then Lee knows that any missed-time tackle could be very, very costly.
Vieira. The shrewd work by Wise.
He's struggled a little bit with the pace of this game, Jukanovic, in the centre of midfield, Martin. It's been a little bit quick for him at times. Neat, tidy on the ball, not a doubt about that. It's when people are running at him and going past him that there's a slight problem for him.
He's got Wise back alongside him now. But Wise in cantankerous mood. Which is normal, I guess.
I guess so.
But Chelsea will be worse off without him, there's no doubt about that. It looked as though he was going, of course, a few weeks ago. With Johnson, beaten by the other number 22, Oleg Luzhny. Babayara. Dixon giving himself plenty of depth against Kroenke. Lauren. Cole. Lauren's got in behind Wise and Jukanovic. Jukanovic again on the stretch. Just making the intervention that Chelsea were in need of. Poyet. A great goal-scoring record, of course, in the FA Cup. Real contributor to Chelsea's success last season. Hardly got within range in this game. That's where Arsenal want to keep Kroenke.
Chelsea would like him going the other way doing that, wouldn't they?
The best kick from Cudicini. Bergkamp. Ljungberg looking for the feet of Henry. Might have run to Pires. It was hoping that would be the case, but Ferrer intervened. Wise. Babayara. Bank trying to take it on the turn past Luzhny, knocked up by Stepanovs. Only done again by Terry. Poyet. Good Johnson. Jukanovic trying to get it forward towards Hasselbank, couldn't pick him out. Nor could Ljungberg find Henry because Babayara got in the way. Chelsea, unusually in this game, have got 5 players forward here and made absolutely nothing of the potential of that position. But they'll try again through Terry, who doesn't squander possession. On the bash, Babayara returned confidently and lost the ball moments earlier. Jukanovic looking for Poyet, who would have perhaps found it hard to catch that. In any case, he was offside, and Arsenal didn't want to hear the whistle then. They were on their way to break out of their own half, they hoped.
No need for a whistle, was there? Absolutely no need for it.
Tracking Jesper Kroenke is possible now if you're a Sky Digital viewer. Channel 404 is the subject of our player cam. Henry. Beautifully taken down by Poyet, but given no time to rest on his laurels by Cole. Expansive from Hasselbank. It's reasonably effective, but not to Jukanovic. Wasted the ball that Hasselbank had given to it. Ljungberg. Henry. Lauren by the far post, and down he goes. Graham Barber points for a penalty.
I have to say, Martin, this is one. This is a real one. The referee shakes his head. The linesman puts his flag across his chest. And Graham Barber reacts to the linesman and points to the spot. I have to be honest, I was watching the cross going, but here it is here. Well, I have to say, Kroenke is absolute balmy. Hands were laying upon the back, pushed over. Linesman flag went across his chest. Graham Barber looked across, saw that, and pointed to the spot.
Well, a player brought on to try and help Chelsea win the game in the second half, you felt might have made a mistake here to hand the tie to the opposition.
A little bit of gamesmanship going on here. Chelsea looking, pointing to the ball, saying it's not quite on the spot. They're asking Henry to respot it.
Now Arsenal have had all sorts of problems in cup ties from penalties, particularly in shootouts, of course, but you think of Bergkamp in that semi-final against Manchester United at a crucial stage. Thierry Henry is their regular penalty taker.
What do you think, place or smash?
Place.
It doesn't seem like a smash to me, does it?
Here goes Thierry Henry. He places it in the corner, and Arsenal lead Chelsea by 1-0 in the 7th minute of the second half.
Well, the sign of a truly, truly big player. To take all that gamesmanship, respotting the ball, Jokanovic walking across the face of him just as he's about to stride up, and then to rule it into the corner like that. It's been a frustrating opening half for Arsene Wenger and his side. They'll feel that's a reward for keeping at it. One or two decisions maybe not going their way first half. You have to compliment the officials, particularly the linesman, the far side. Chelsea would thank me for saying that, but it was quite clear Gronkjar's contact was illegal.
And Phil Sharp was sharp-eyed. Thierry Henry, who for one reason or another has not played in the FA Cup until today this season, and hadn't scored in the FA Cup in his career until a few moments ago, did the necessary for the Gunners. And now to keep his hands down. Getting some advice on that subject from a man who knows a bit about it.
Not quite the best advice to get. But game on.
Takes one to know one.
Absolutely, mate. Game on now for Chelsea.
Fede. So Chelsea have to do in the FA Cup what they did manage in the Premiership, and that's equalise at Highbury. It's Terry who got that goal.
It's now 6.5 games since Arsenal were forced to kick off in a match, except at half-time or the beginning of it. And the two at the centre of the defence have actually done quite well, Mark. I don't want to put a jinx on them by saying that too early. There's, I think, a bit more work for them to do. Chelsea must, at some time in the match, start to ask a question or two of Luzhny stepping off. But anything that's been asked so far, well, they've answered.
They were in tandem then. Of course, they are both very experienced international players with their respective countries. And Luzhny was good enough to play for the old Soviet Union as well. Bigger catchment area.
Well, the two changes that Claudio Ranieri made at half-time, Martin, do mean that he has one more only in his locker. Don't think Frank Leboeuf's going to be a change that will win them a game. Leaves Mario Stanic as the only real viable option when you're chasing a game.
But Andy, you said at the start about a midfield player powering through from Arsenal's point of view. Maybe thinking about it with the ball, but of course Lauren made a run without the ball of the strength and energy to get the penalty. Vieira. Here's Babayara.
There's an injury.
Is down. Silvinho was in the Arsenal squad, a squad of 17 who reported for the game, but Arsene Wenger decided that with his only recent recovery from a calf injury, not to put him on the bench. This gives us another opportunity to look at how and why Chelsea are behind.
Well, the thing is that would be sad for Chelsea's point of view. You see the referee right side of the screen looking across. Now you see Lauren coming in. There's the push. The flag goes up immediately. There's not even a question about that. Now it's totally unnecessary because I don't think Lauren's getting the ball, Martin. I don't think he can make contact with it. I think he's too far away. I think the ball's past him and going for a goal kick.
Cole on his feet.
The scoreline has got a familiar ring to it at the moment. Last 3 games, 1-0 to the Arsenal. Same scoreline as we have today.
The last team that scored against them was Chelsea. Dixon. Troubled as yet by Jesper Grønkjær in the second half.
Well, quite simply, they haven't got the ball to Grønkjær, have they? In an area where he can threaten.
He's quick enough to threaten from even here when he did get the ball. And Dennis Wise with this desire to get the ball back. But you feel he's walking a disciplinary tightrope again here. He's not the only player in that position in this game.
Oh, there you see it there. He's a bit over the top. He's not playing for the ball. Gets away with that. And followed up with I think a much cleaner tackle moments later.
Hasselback. Stefanov's doing well again for Arsenal. Now steps away from a fellow African, Babayaro. Ljungberg cropping up, not where Chelsea expected him. His back pass, better than the one in the first half. Truly dealt with by Kudacini. With Johnson trying to flick it on. Luzhny gives the ball straight back to the Icelandic international, and suddenly here's Hasselback looking dangerous for Chelsea. And Cole
nicely done.
Something on it.
Nicely done. Right, a bit of pace in it. It was bouncing just in front of the young lad. He gets himself in a good position. He had a little look. He knows where Poyet is, so he knows he's got time to just knock it wide.
Bergkamp can go left here to Henry. Plenty of runners for Arsenal to the Frenchman's right. Oh, it might go in!
No, I'm not having that. Back to one in. They're good runners on his right. Perez, Ljungberg, all on mark, both of them.
And credit to Kudacini for not overcommitting. Certainly wouldn't have expected that from Henry. Poyet with some decent delivery from Chelsea's right. Lauren. So far, Ray Parlour not missed in the Arsenal midfield. This is a compliment to those who are doing the job today. Parlour suspended, Adams suspended. Keown injured, Grimondi reported on the Friday with a sore knee. Would have played.
Silvinho?
Silvinho, as I say, is fit but not selected. So if you like, there's some understudies for Arsenal doing the job in the FA Cup. Lauren. Bergkamp. Here's Cole. Henry trying to pull away at the far post. Ashley Cole gets it back off the frame of Marcel Desailly. Lauren, Dixon. Chelsea struggling to stem the tide through midfield. Perez wants to check onto his right foot. Chelsea were wise to that. Henry on the spin.
Where did you see that last? I'll tell you what I saw it last yesterday. Stadium of Light, Joe Cole. Oh, he's winding up the crowd, Henry. He's really fired up. And watch this, he just step on the ball, the spin, the drag. Lovely stuff. Good to watch, pleasing on the eye. Chelsea know that 1-0 is not a match-winning lead at the moment in this kind of game.
Vieira. Dixon. Tossing it in towards Thierry Henry. Terry again, making the right decision.
There's a bit of pace and tempo about the game now, Martin. Chelsea in a hurry to do something at the other end. The game will flow. Absolutely no doubt about that now. There won't be much time taking over anything if there's a blue shirt on it.
Well, he couldn't have gone for that loop ball forward, he would have been offside. It was Lufni's clearance. Poyet. Hasselbaink. Oh, from nothing! Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink has equalised. So often the scourge of Arsenal in the past. A real bolt from the man in blue here.
Well, this is quite magnificent. Quite magnificent. Fed on scraps for an hour in this match, but watch this for top quality finishing. He has no right to even attempt a strike from there, let alone score it. Lushni's got a good position, Martin, but this guy's that good that he might as well not be there. Sends it wide of him, starts to arc it back, and England's number one is left grasping thin air.
It's a familiar feeling for Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink to celebrate a goal against Arsenal. It's a familiar, painful experience for David Seaman to be beaten by the Dutchman. But what a shot!
Well, the measure of the quality of the footballer, Martin, is it's his first attempt at goal in an hour of play. Well, I said what moments earlier, can't rest on 1-0. It's not a match-winning lead in this type of game.
See what he was trying to do.
More angle, and he's in. Just kind of spun off his foot. You watch it carefully here, it spins off his foot rather than he directs it. And then he played it into the run. My goodness, he was through. Well, pick a winner now at home.
Well, that was an H-bomb from Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink after Arsenal's H-man Thierry Henry had put away his penalty. 1-1. Perez. Bergkamp. Oh, it's behind Henry. No one had gambled to run in for Arsenal. Bergkamp would steer it back. Ljungberg was rather waiting and watching on the edge. Bergkamp again. Now Ljungberg. And here's Lushni cropping up on the right-hand side. Back for Dixon. Of course, a right back by trade, really. Lauren, who can also play that position. Awkward for Poyet, his back defending.
Well, Jukanovic went to sleep there, Martin, to allow Lauren just to drift in behind him. He's done it again, Jukanovic.
It's Ljungberg. Squarely met by Terry. And power in that right foot of Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink, shown in the calibre of the pass. Beckham-esque.
Good boy, that. Good boy. Ashley Cole. Got to be able to defend. Playing his position, he can do that.
He's now the subject of our player cam, Sky Digital Viewers, channel 404. And it's to Johnson. Hit the post. Back to Wise. From Seaman. Flag has gone up, and suddenly, after being lacking in firepower totally.
Well, they don't clean this out front post, Mark. Look, there are 3 rounds. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink, neither of them deal with it. The goals don't move. You can see what Good Johnson's trying to do here, just turning and swinging at it. My goodness, Arsenal's getting a let off there.
Well, they have found some weaponry, Chelsea, against Arsenal. But here's Perez. Doesn't aim for Bergkamp, I don't think. It nearly got to him. Lauren, Ljungberg. It's Freddie Ljungberg's shot, and it's comfortable for Carlo Cudicini.
That's been a really good response from the holders, isn't it? Chelsea anxious not to relinquish their grip in this trophy. Real spirited comeback.
Hasselbank. Referee has given one penalty against Chelsea. Don't see enough in that to give one for them.
I think a touch theatrical. Both go to win it, and Jimmy decides
the error anyway.
I'm going over anyway. Well, it worked for Gary McAllister.
Same referee.
Oh dear.
That was the league game recently between Sunderland and Liverpool at the Stadium of Light that we're referring to. Referees do learn from experiences. This is Jokanovic. Yara. Nokia will be feeling a lot better. Giving away the penalty. Wise. I wondered what sort of second half we would get after the scrapping and the unsavoury note on which the first half ended. Well, the answer is it's been very good. Halfway through it. Lara. Here's Gudjonsson taking Arsenal on. Had a great run in the FA Cup last season with Bolton, of course, and has certainly contributed to Chelsea. One goal in the third round, two in the fourth round, and very nearly one in the fifth here. Put Chelsea 2-1 in front. Playing David Seaman's left-hand post. Pires. Vieira. Maybe to get some of the pressure off his own shoulders, suggests to Barber that was a dive. Friendly. Sylvain Wiltord is obviously coming on.
Robert Pires. I thought it was a very effective first half, Pires, Martin, but less so since half-time.
Wiltord, who got Arsenal through the third round, the goal to Carlisle, cashed in on the domination of Queen's Park Rangers with 2 at Loftus Road. So Bergkamp behind 2 out forwards, Andy, maybe?
Well, it looks like Bergkamp dropped a little bit deeper. Ljungberg's come over to the left-hand side. It might well be that they'll use Lauren as a wide right-hand side, Martin. Maybe go with a tightish 3 with Bergkamp just floating behind the front 2.
Chelsea, in terms of not just scoring, maybe because of the goal, have had their best spell in terms of possession since then. Arsenal trying to find themselves again as the prevailing force. Bergkamp. By Babbayara in the first place. Desai didn't panic in a tight corner. Hasselbank. Vieira. Squirted that back at goal, but he was still able to get there first. Babbayara. Stepanovs. Very calmly done again. Thanks a lot, it seems, to fluster him. Henry. On the outside of Ferrer. foot. He's got a corner.
Don't have a whole lot of options actually, Mark. Only Bergkamp within the frame of the goal as a target for Henry had he hooked his left leg round that.
Arsenal was short of a corner taker. Bergkamp realised that it was his job. Vieira, originally trying to keep it alive, can't do it. Ljungberg's header. Ferrer. It's going in, rather leading with an arm. A headache for Lauren. If a replay is required, it's scheduled for a week next Saturday, with the 3 games being rearranged. Forward for Cudicini. There's a real chip off the old block. His father Fabio recently voted as the best Milan goalkeeper of all time. Was in a team that won a European Cup in the late 60s. Lara. Jokanovic with him. Just nicked it from Lee Dixon, hoped to keep that one in and really stretch away. Not one run from him of the sort that troubled Manchester United so much last weekend so far since he's come on, at least not in the right direction.
No, I think Chelsea, Arsenal have done a good job of actually stopping the service to Kroenke. Really restricted it.
Wiltor. After hunting it back, Sylvain Wiltor. So too did Gudjonsson for Chelsea. Scamper here for Ferrer. Wiltor, can he get his foot to it? He does! Arsenal back in front. A successful substitution from Arsene Wenger, and Sylvain Wiltor keeps his run going in the FA Cup.
Well, it's amazing. You can talk and talk and talk about silky, wonderful football, but this is just route one. Ball played over the top. I'm really surprised they haven't dealt with that. You're talking about a World Cup winning central defender here who really gets caught. Wiltor, 5 minutes on, it's a good finish, going away from goal, but he somehow manages to hook it back round, over the goalkeeper and into the corner. Can they do it again? Can the cup holders answer the question and claw their way back?
Ljungberg, Chelsea gave it away from the kickoff. Henry!
I just wonder if they get on another more defensive midfield player, Martin. I know what he's done before. Arsene Wenger, when he needs to get back in to win a game or get an equaliser, he does gamble. But then if he's got substitutes to bring back on, he often takes an attacking player off and brings in a more defensive one. They're a little bit stretched defensively at the moment.
Well, he's the man who normally is...
well, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
The enforcer, you might call him.
Well, they've got Lauren and they've got Bergkamp, they've got Wiltor, they've got Henry, they've got Ljungberg all on, and only really Vieira of any real defensive quality.
Wiltor. Bergkamp. Inside inside the last 15 minutes. Hasselbank calling for it quickly. Booming kick from Cudicini, and David Seaman trying to judge the bounce. Stepanov trying to, as defenders do, make sure that the attacker doesn't get anywhere near a goalkeeper coming out. They usually get away with any sort of obstruction in there. Chelsea needing an equaliser, so we'll concentrate now for Sky Digital viewers, channel 404, on the player cam on Eidur Gudjonsson. Desai. Marcel Desai knows all about Sylvain Wiltord from internationals and great successes with France. Just lost track of him and lost track of the ball.
I mean, it might be we're talking about one of the great through balls, Martin, from Stepanov, but it was rather straight. It was there, maybe to be dealt with his head rather than stretching with a foot for it. Maybe just get caught. It's not a ball that he's been defending a lot of today. You know, normally everything's been played in front of them. They've looked for feet. Haven't looked too often to head it straight and over the top. And I think Stepanov was probably running out of options and just looked up, decided I'll go long. And when you play a pass like that, the important thing is to be long enough to clear the defenders.
So the cup holders having to dig deep here to keep their grip on the trophy. Ronkia. Decision goes against Bergkamp.
Well, I wouldn't give too many free kicks away in this sort of area. I said at the beginning, they're a big side, Chelsea. They've got plenty of targets. Poyet, Jokanovic, Terry, Gudjonsson, Hasselbank, joined by Desai. 6 players there who all capable of heading a goal.
Touch by Gudjonsson, but I think Chelsea are going to get another go at this free kick. Graham Barber hadn't given the go-ahead.
Well, just Arsenal have got to sort it out. You know? Got to get who they're marking, who they're picking up, and we've got to stick with them. Chelsea players, on the other hand, looking to lose markers, looking to get that half yard.
And Poyet saying clip it in. He recognises maybe the potential of aerial supremacy, but Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank wants to have a lash at it. He can hardly blame it. Arsenal bring a lovely touch by Wiltord to set up the counter-attack. He's rolled it on for Ljungberg. Henry getting involved. Great work for Chelsea by Babayaro.
Oh, fantastic work. Super break and super defending, but what a strike from Hasselbank from a free kick, and what a block from the Arsenal captain of the day, Lee Dixon.
I was wincing there because Hasselbank, who's on the Graham Barber's yellow card list, didn't pull out in a clash with Lee Dixon.
He looks at the referee with those big innocent eyes as well, doesn't he? Me?
Well, he scored in 7 appearances for Leeds and Chelsea against Arsenal. He scored in 6 of those games. He's never scored 2 in a game against the Gunners. But he can today.
That little look, Mark, was for the goalkeeper. It's to David Seaman. I think he was just saying about the free kick. That would have tested you, big man. Because it was flying, it was fizzy.
Ferrer. Gudjonsson able to come and collect to feet. Always looking to set up somebody else rather than have a shot. Vieira. And he's just clipped by Poyet. Arsenal will take their time over the free kick as we go into the last 10 minutes. On a day when they've already lost 1 lead. Sumptuous second half though. Sports 1 at 5:30. Ross County entertaining Rangers in the Tennant Scottish Cup, the 4th round. Plenty of romance north of the border. Well, you could say here comes the fire brigade. Nelson Vivas trying to quench the enthusiasm of opposition who are trailing by 2 goals to 1. Off goes Bergkamp and the attacking options that he brings. Vivas, versatile, but very defensive.
Well, that's a change I talked about, Martin. It would be interesting because normally you'd expect Vivas to come and play maybe centrally alongside Vieira. I think he'll stick him right side. I think he'll want his defensive abilities in front of Lee Dixon, alongside Gronkiar.
Henry, third goal will be handy for Arsenal in these circumstances. Wise feet up with Vieira. Both had certainly Wise had a look at Vieira. I couldn't see the eye line for the Frenchman. Graham Barber is just going to give the free kick. To just stop any repetition of what we saw at this stage in the first half.
Yeah, this is one where 2 players, you see Dennis have a little look then, and there's not really much contact between either of them. They more or less go back. The trailing leg, it gets caught, the left calf really of Patrick Vieira, nothing serious. I think the referee's right then.
Just a little passing pat from Patrick.
Well, he doesn't need to do anything else because his team are 2-1 up at the moment. He doesn't need to get involved. This is it. This is the last throw.
Mario Stanic, who has missed so much of his first season in England because of knee trouble. Poor Federer. Well, this is the opposite of what Arsene Wenger's done. This is Claudio Ranieri trying to find something to tilt the attacking balance back Chelsea's way sufficiently to stay in the FA Cup.
Well, you feel there's a shot on here. The 2 front men are over the ball, with very few red shirts in the penalty area.
It's Wiltor. Well, we were right behind it, and I guess the camera was as well. Started off online and then just bent away.
Yeah, it's a wonderful strike, but the spin is the thing. The spin, the swerve, just takes it fractionally away.
Wiltor, Henry. Wiltor onside. Has just made him check. He's full of confidence here. He's still probably week in, week out finding his feet in the English game. But the FA Cup's been good to Sylvain Wiltor. And by his goal, Arsenal continue to lead. And it's Wiltor again! The FA Cup is indeed very, very good to Sylvain Wiltor.
Well, it's a defensive error, way over on the left-hand side. Chelsea should clear this, should mop it up, they don't. But full marks to Lauren. From here, this is Chelsea's ball, mop it up, ball up the pitch. But Lauren does everything right from now on. He takes his time. Wiltard's run is brilliant. You often think people should run towards goal. Here's a classic example of when you walk away from goal to create a bit of space, and then if your mate sees you, you're in a perfect position to swing the right foot and find the bottom corner. I would normally say game over, Martin, but then again, this is the FA Cup.
And this is the holders.
Correct.
On the verge of losing the grip on this world-famous trophy. And here comes Stanic. Ljungberg. Wiltor.
What a substitution there. And that's the difference. I think what Arsene Wenger now has with Sylvain Wiltor. He has, I said about Bergkamp being the best partner without being a partner, because he drops off and probably doesn't get himself into the positions that Sylvain Wiltor does. And that's the difference, and that's what Wenger has now, is the option to play real 2 out-and-out front men if he wants. who will get in the penalty area. Both of them at the same time for anything coming into the box from wide.
Foul by Luzhny. Wise. Hasselback. And Vieira putting up the screen.
Chelsea might hold the key in unlocking Arsenal's defence, Martin, but they don't hold the key to stop them going in at the other end at the moment.
Jokanovic just too high for Gudjonsson. And Lee Dixon, FA Cup winner with Arsenal in '93 and '98, heading towards a date in the quarter-finals in the year 2001. Luzhny. Henry. It's all French and flowing for Arsenal.
Just keep it, I would suggest, but I want more.
Vivas. Trying a trick in the penalty area there. Wise, Hasselback. Stepanov's got the ball. Vieira. Arms on and feet in, really. I wondered at half-time whether this would end up 11-a-side for that fusillade of yellow cards, if you like, 6 in such quick succession. The Wilto's offside. But it's a great credit to the players and the officials that the second half has turned out the way it's done, which has been fabulously entertaining. Unless you're a fan of Chelsea Football Club. And even then, if it is in defeat, Chelsea have seen one of the outstanding goals of their season. Two minutes plus time added on.
Plenty of attempts, look at that. Triple and double on target.
Jokanovic. Hasselback. Down goes Poyet. There was an incident off the ball there involving Dennis Wise, and Luzhny penalised for bringing down the Uruguayan.
Well, this is danger. Alarm bells ringing. David Seaman anxious to get his wall right. There's nothing in this except surely a Hasselback strike. He wants him right back, almost to the penalty spot. This is a pretty good range for Jimmy. Try and put his own screen in there as well and smash it right at it.
It's deflected away. You think of Arsene Wenger's quote about Kanu, about making the impossible possible with that hat-trick when these two clubs met in a league game at Stamford Bridge last season. Same really applies to Jimmy Boyd Hasselback here. Wise with the corner. Queuing up the Arsenal players to get it away, but they didn't get it away. So Babayaro fires it in, hopefully. That's a very sensible ball from Terry. Wise with the cross, loops off Cole. Seaman can't prevent the corner.
Well, he's looking at the linesman, Dennis Wise. He's wanting a penalty, I think. He's screaming, there you are. Handball, the works. At least I think it was handball. He's asking.
But he's not getting it. Chelsea find a scoring head here now. It's David Seaman gets on the ball and balls it out to Henry. It's 2 against 1 if he plays Wiltor in. Gronkiel's got back. The substitute, of course, is on a hat-trick. Chelsea regroup. Arsenal don't have to go heading for number 4, and that shot's not heading towards the 4th goal. 4 extra minutes.
It's a long time. More than enough time for 2 goals to go in. That's Vivas' job. Get on there, son. And when he gets it, you're in his face. Stop him.
Jokanovic. Poyet just let it run under his foot. Stanic. Can't get around the outside. outside of Ljungberg, and Stanic tugs away at Freddie Ljungberg. Maybe fortunate not to have a yellow card for that. But it would have been out of keeping with the nature of the second half.
I think the difference for me and the teams has been the midfield area. I talked about it right at the top of the show. That maybe if Arsenal were going to win this match, it would be because of their midfield quartet. I feel that's been right.
And goes Wiltor. It came off Stanic earlier, and therefore Arsenal were onside. Hustle here, Stefanovs and Gudjonsson. Arsenal's free kick. Arsenal's day.
Well, it looks that way. It looks that way. You'd find it hard to argue though, Martin. I think they have been, for the majority, of the better side on the day. I know Wiltor scored too, but I do think, you know, mention him time and time again. I do. I'm just such a fan of the lad. But Patrick Vieira has been immense for me this afternoon. Absolutely immense for Arsenal. And controlled.
Terry hit it against Wise. Cole was in nippily. Henry could head for the corner flag if he wants, but it's for Wiltor. Here's Poyet. 2 of the 4 minutes have gone. Gudjonsson. Stefanovs left back to Luzhny, and
playing together for years. Marcel Desailly talked with great determination and fondness about this competition in this morning's newspapers, Martin, about his desire to win and how you should only enjoy playing this game when you win it, and he's absolutely right. So he's not going to have a good Sunday night, the Frenchman. He is a winner through and through. Anybody who's won this trophy doesn't want to lose it. I speak from experience in that.
Here's Stanic. Can't blame him for having a crack in the circumstances. Of course, when you were a winner, Andy, you actually lost your grip on it at Wembley the following year.
We did, Manchester United.
Does that make it less painful? Or
no, it does. More painful. Yeah, more painful. Chelsea will feel like they know the joy of the majority of these players out there of winning this trophy.
David Seaman can afford a misplaced goal kick. His run of clean sheets have come to an end, but that hasn't been catastrophic, and it was a stunning goal to better him.
Well, as I say, I mean, people might pick the bones out of it and say, well, Luzhny was too far away. I wouldn't go along with that. I thought Luzhny had a great position to stop the shot. It's just the quality of the effort was so great.
Arsenal poised to celebrate, and Chelsea have lost their grip on the FA Cup. The holders knocked out by Sylvain Wiltor, who came on as a substitute to score twice and mark himself as a talisman for Arsenal in this competition. Thierry Henry had given the Gunners the lead with a penalty early in the second half, but Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, with his almost customary goal against Arsenal, and perhaps the best of a catalogue of hits here at Highbury in the past, had equalised. Arsenal needed something extra, but they had it with the French connection. And the final score after a splendid second half at Highbury: Arsenal 3, Chelsea 1.
Still to come tonight, live sport across 3 Sky Sports channels. On 1 at 5:30 is the Scottish Cup tie between Ross County and Rangers. On 2 from 8, there's the final day of the Bob Hope Chrysler Classic. And on 3 at 6:30, more football from Spain this time. Real Mallorca against Athletic Bilbao. Stephen, you've got to be fit to play football these days, haven't you? That was harum-scarum from start to finish. Great cup tie. Alan Smith and Robbie Earle when we come back. Plenty to talk about. 3-1 to the Gunners. Chelsea, the holders, are out. made in France. Henry, 2 from Wiltord, 3-1. Arsenal have beaten Chelsea. What a goal from Hasselbank along the way, mind you. Terrific cup tie. 6 booked by half-time. Nobody in the second half. We said we'd been waiting for one. We had it here today. Great entertainment. The holders are out. Now then, what about man of the match? Well, no surprise. He's French too. Speaking with Claire Tomlinson, and Thierry Henry's down there as well.
Patrick, you are the AXA man of the match. Superb midfield performance from you. Games against Chelsea are always a battle. What was it like out there?
It was a difficult game, you know, because all time when we play against them, we know it will be really hard. We score first, but I think there's a fight to come back. And when Sylvain come on, I think he did really well. I think the spirit of the team was fantastic, and I think we all deserve the congratulations.
You did have some players out, suspended and injured, but your home form here has been absolutely superb this season.
Yeah, I think we put so many pressure on the team when we play at home, and with the striker we have in our team, we can score in any moment. So Thierry and Sylvain do really well today.
Thierry Henry standing next to you. Thierry, the penalty, you're under enormous amount of pressure. The Chelsea players did their best to put you off just before you took that.
Yeah, some of them tried to look at me and to just, you know, to deconcentrate me, but you know, I like this kind of thing. That's why I enjoy my game, because they wanted to put me under pressure, but I just wanted to put the ball in the back of the net and, you know, to put my team ahead.
How does it feel to score your first goal in the FA Cup?
Yeah, obviously it was the first game I played this year, and yeah, it's great. You know, it's obviously when we play against Chelsea in the league, it's already a tough game, and today it was the cup, and it was more difficult.
Patrick, at half-time, it didn't look as if there'd be 4 goals in it. It looked like there'd be more bookings. It got a bit lively just before half-time.
Yeah, but I think you have to expect that kind of games, because this is the FA Cup. Every team wants to go until the end. And they fight really hard, but in the end we won it, so we're really proud about ourselves.
It's a key week. Next up, Champions League game, and then Manchester United coming up. Will you take confidence from winning this one?
I think, yeah, because the way we played today, I think we are really confident about the way we play. So after the game we won 1-0 at Lyon, and the fantastic result today, I think we're in the good way to come back.
You are man of the match. Thierry, if you could do the honours.
Thank you.
Well played. Very well played, Arsenal. Great cup tie, wasn't it?
Yeah, second half was fantastic. I mean, first half was a bit niggly, but in the second half it was, you know, the pace of the game was... I'm almost glad I'm retired when you see how quickly that's going on out there.
Honourable defeat for the holders, Alan?
Yeah, I thought they showed plenty of spirit, you know, to come back into it with that fantastic Hasselbank goal. And just after that, it looked like they were going to go on and get a second, but yeah, fair play to Arsenal. I thought they showed tremendous team spirit, and, you know, led by Vieira. I thought he was awesome today.
Had the lot, really, didn't it, when you look back across the 90 minutes? It was a cup tie, wasn't it?
It was, and it was strange that we talked about possibly, you know, the fella Gronkior coming on and having a big effect on the game for Chelsea. He did have an effect, exactly, and not the way we would have said. But Arsenal had the better of the possession in the first half without particularly creating that many opportunities. The opportunities that did come probably were more aerial from crossfield.
Was that a foul?
No, don't think it was, actually. And they did put the ball into some good areas, didn't they? But just didn't exploit them.
We probably lacked that one type of player who's going to, you know, go and stick his head on it. Maybe Tony Adams or Keown, you know, have made careers out of doing that.
Was that a foul?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about that, is there?
I mean, that's a foul. He's got a hold of his shirt, he's pulling him back. Anywhere else on the pitch, the referee gives it. And it's probably the best opportunity of the first half as it drops to Lundberg. Decent challenge by Babayara, but really should at least hit the target.
It's the first of the piece of niggle.
Yeah, this is when it started to get all scrappy, didn't it, with Babayara accidentally on purpose, treading on Lundberg there. Lucky to get away with that with the linesman so close.
The linesman was looking at it.
Yeah, I know. Turned a blind eye. And then could have been sent off here. Could have conceded a penalty. Just as he flicks at Lundberg, at Bergkamp, sorry.
That's daft, isn't it?
I mean, it's silly. He's getting no advantage from it and could cost his team dearly, really. But this is the start of the scuffle, the original tackle by Perez on Wise. Then all the players get involved. And strangely, I think it was after this period that, just before half-time, the game then settled and they started to play more football. It was as though all the tension had come out and everybody then concentrated on the football.
Graham Barber kept his head after that, 3 booked, happily nobody off. You don't want players off the field.
No,
we got a game
I mean, we thought at
result.
that stage there's going to be somebody sent off in the second half, but that was Granquiar's main contribution towards the afternoon. I mean, Lauren, I don't think was going to get to that cross, and he's put his hand, he's felt his hand there, and he's gone down. You
How
can't
much more
blame
of a
him for
foul
that.
is that than the one that you've just talked about in the first
Well, it's
half?
probably less of a foul, isn't it? It's probably, it was, the referee saw it this time and he gave it.
It's an easier decision to give, I think, because the ball's in mid-flight. You can see the run of the player. I think it's a lot easier to give than the one that's been held. But
great penalty.
It's a beautiful penalty, isn't it? After a slight delay, kept his head.
That's like 30%. Wenger's asking for shooting from 40 yards now on me, left foot.
I mean, he gets better for me with every game on me. You know, he just grows in stature. So confident.
But what's a goal that is, by the way? I mean, it's unstoppable. It's not too dissimilar to Rickard, who remember scored at Middlesbrough, where he's sending it outside the post. And
that's more sheer power, though, isn't it? This one, I think, than placement. It's placement and power.
There was nowhere to put that, really, was there?
A couple of inches, wasn't there?
And this is the opportunity where Johnson, who'd come on as sub and gave a bit of life to the Chelsea forward line. I thought, well, maybe look at that and think if he hooks it straight rather than hitting on an angle, he probably scores.
Or if he stuffs it.
Exactly.
And this was a straightforward ball, wasn't it? One that you'd expect the Chelsea defenders to clear up no problem. You know, Stepanov's put it into a good area. You know, really, there's three players.
Sorry, those two first Arsenal goals have been Chelsea mistakes. Granquiar pushed, Desire going to ground, which you don't expect. Wiltor gets in and gets his opportunity, and those defensive mistakes have cost him dear today. And then this was really...
Babiara didn't do much wrong there today, but just getting it caught between his feet.
Contributed to the lane downfall, haven't it?
Very much, but the game will towards come on. Wenger knows now he's got plenty of forward players. He can rotate them.
Put Freddie out here, look, not just for a long time, not too interested.
This is what he needs.
He still hasn't got a pairing that he would call his #1 strike partnership, Wenger, but he mixes and matches, doesn't he, and usually gets the result.
Chelsea's first cup defeat in 9 games. That's from a fellow that I think, Alan, one of the criticisms you had when he first came, Arsene Wenger, was that he wouldn't change it. And now he seems to have...
I think so. He's got that much power and options on the bench that if things aren't going his way, he doesn't hesitate now, and often 2 or 3 substitutions at a time, and it has worked for him.
Chelsea dressing room doors still locked. They're having a long conversation about that. We'll get some reaction from the dressing room area when we come back to an afternoon that Arsenal have won and made progress through to the quarter-finals. Chelsea are out. Still nothing from Chelsea just yet. Beaten here today by 3-1. Arsene Wenger has come out, and here he is with Claire Tomlinson.
Arsene, it was a terrific match to watch. What were your thoughts on it?
It was a very tight game, but I always felt that we really wanted to win it, and were sharp mentally. And even when Chelsea came back to 1-1, I felt that the team really wanted to go forward again, and finally we could win it. But Chelsea played well, we played well, and that's why it was a terrific match.
How does it feel as a manager when you put a player on and then he immediately goes on and scores?
You feel that you're right, of course, but I think it's down to the quality of the players you have on the bench much more than the thinking of the manager. But we know we have 2 world-class players on the bench, and that always gives you a chance when they come on.
It was a fantastic strike, but that is the first goal that you've conceded in 10.5 hours of football. Did you think it was going to a replay at that point?
Of course, we were all upset because we didn't concede goals, but even today I'm happy with the defensive performance, and I felt that we had Eastern country central defence, and they did very well. They communicated well. Oleg Luzny and Igor Stepanovs improved from game to game, and they did well together. All the back 4 with Cole and Dixon, they played well. Unfortunately, we conceded a goal.
Your 6th straight win. You said it was important to win today to go on and play Lyon and Manchester United.
Yes, you could see that when it was 1-1, that kind of belief that you can win the games is very important. That I think it made the confidence today made the difference between the 2 teams when it was 1-1, and that's why it's important to win as long as you can, but just go from game to game and try to win.
At half-time, more bookings than goals, though.
Yes, but only because there was 1 or 2 situations where people were a little bit nervous. It's always like that on a cup game, you know somebody will go out, and maybe people are a little bit more nervous.
Patrick Vieira's performance was described by Andy Gray as immense. Would you be in agreement with that description?
I couldn't disagree with that, yes. He was immense, and He was calm, won the midfield, and his passing was fantastic. He's been amazing in recent weeks.
Good luck in Europe.
Thank you.
It is a big week, isn't it?
Oh, huge, yeah. Obviously Lyon in the return on Wednesday, and then Manchester United on Sunday.
You think about that gap United have got. Andy said earlier, looking at Arsenal's league form, 2 points better off at this stage, this season, than they were last, and they're 13 points adrift of Manchester United. That's staggering, isn't it?
It just shows you the quality of United, really. I mean, Arsenal haven't done a whole lot wrong. I mean, the away form hasn't been too clever this season, but they seem to be getting things together now with more clean sheets, tighter at the back, and so much threat going forward.
Here's the first goal again. Gronka, who we talked about at half-time having an impact. He did, Robbie, as you suggested, but not the one Chelsea wanted him to have.
Not at all, and this is about responsibility. When you get back into those areas, you have to be more responsible than that. You know, you can't push a forward player and expect to get away with it. And maybe these are the things that Ranieri sees or knows about.
He's done the first part of his job, hasn't he? Going back in.
Gets back. Now, there's no need to use his hands. It's clumsy and it's irresponsible.
Now this was after a long delay as well. All sorts
they've had
of
problems with the penalty takers, haven't they, Arsenal? Dennis Bergkamp didn't take any more after the Old Trafford, the miss against United in the semi, and as you say, there was a long delay and it showed a cool head from Henry.
1-1, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. Ever struck a ball like this, either of you?
No, I wish.
In my dreams, yeah. He's got the thighs for it, hasn't he, Jimmy? And he doesn't let down most of the time. Fantastic. He hasn't just got power, he's got accuracy.
I think there's a one missed off there. That's 153 miles an hour. That's moving at, isn't it?
But he's the type of player, it doesn't have to be in great form. Didn't think he had a particularly great game today, but he does possess this ability out of nothing with that power in his right foot to score goals.
Then the change from Arsenal, Wiltord on, and what an impact he had, eh?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes from the start he hasn't always done it, but that's the great thing of having these world-class forwards on the bench, that they're fresh, and he's got into a great position there, just in between the two defenders. And it is a good finish. That's a cool finish under pressure.
But it's not a ball that Chelsea should be conceding from, is it?
It's a straight ball, isn't it? You would be surprised to see Desai misjudging that. And, you know, Kudicini's just come out. Perhaps a little bit rash to come out so quickly, but great finish nonetheless.
3-1, Wiltord again. And not for the first time, Robbie. Chelsea contributing really to their downfall here.
Yeah, we'll see Wiltord tracked, and he's just going to take a clever position as Arsenal break down the right-hand side. Lauren's going to come in and watch him pull away from his defender. The way he goes away, makes himself half a yard, and then it's a clever finish on the inside of the goalkeeper. Defenders will naturally get dragged towards the goal in this situation, but clever forward play comes away from the defenders, and a neat finish, and game, set and match for Arsenal.
We haven't seen a lot of Lauren. Is that as well as you've seen him play today?
Yeah, I was quite impressed. I mean, he was poor actually over in France in the week on the right-hand side, and today, I mean, he can play either inside or on the right, and I thought today he showed a lot of commitment alongside Patrick Vieira. He backed him up, and yeah, he did some good work.
I have to say, I think we have to mention Stepanov and Luzny today. We were looking early and saying no Tony Adams, no Martin Keown. Will they be able to cope with the threat of Hasselbank and Zola? And they've come out with full marks today.
I thought Stepanov's in particular came of age, you know, because he's had his apprenticeship almost next to Tony the last 6 or 7 games, and you know, stood there today very calm under pressure, wasn't he?
Claudio Ranieri has come out. Here he is with his interpreter Alex Leith and Claire Tomlinson.
Claudio, can you explain to us your disappointment at being out of the FA Cup?
Quanto deluso sei di essere fuori di questa competizione?
Ma siamo tutti delusi e dispiaciuti perché è logico, eravamo i detentori e volevamo proseguire in questa competizione.
We're all upset because we wanted to go forward, get on in this competition.
You're up to 9th in the league, though. Does this make Champions League qualification even more important now?
Non nella classifica, questo fa anche più importante la qualificazione per il Champions League.
Sì, infatti noi volevamo proseguire nella competizione della FA Cup proprio per questa possibilità di rientrare in Europa. Adesso non ci resta che il campionato.
Our only possibility of getting into Europe was the FA Cup. Now we have to get through by coming at least third in the league.
Went 1-0 down to the penalty, but the response after that was quite fantastic from Chelsea.
Dopo il rigore Chelsea ha giocato molto bene.
Sì, io credo che la svolta della partita è stato quel palo di Gudjonsen. Se fa gol lì cambia la partita in nostro favore, invece dal palo nostro poi hanno fatto loro il gol e lì si è chiusa la partita purtroppo.
The crucial point was when Gudjonsen hit the post after our equaliser. After that Arsenal scored pretty much straight away. That was the crucial point. Unfortunately the goal didn't go in.
You did hit the post, of course, at one point, and that was the turning point, you felt. If that had gone in, you could have got a replay or you could have gone on to win it.
Sarebbe stato anche possibile vincere la partita se avessi stato un gol.
Sì, no, noi cercavamo quello. È logico che l'Arsenal ha giocato molto bene, alla fine ha meritato di vincere, giocava nella sua casa, però ecco, se avessimo fatto noi quel gol io credo che saremmo riusciti a portare in porto la partita.
It's important to say that Arsenal played very well. They were playing at home, but if Gudjohnsen had scored that goal, we, I think, would have won the game.
Tensions threatened to boil over just before half-time. Can Claudio tell us what he said to the players at half-time?
Prima del primo tempo c'è stato questo problema con tutti i giocatori. Cosa hai detto ai giocatori durante l'intervallo?
No, non riuscivamo a giocare come volevamo, per cui ho detto di aumentare il ritmo della partita, di giocare più in verticale.
He spoke more of tactics and that we weren't getting into the game, so we had to change our tactics in order to get into the game.
And that's when Jesper Grønkjær came on. Why was he on the bench to start with?
Perché Jesper Grønkjær non è stato in panchina?
Perché evidentemente ancora non sta assimilando molto bene il lavoro fisico e non sta in un ottimo momento, per cui ho pensato di sfruttarlo soltanto per un tempo.
He's still building up his physical strength, and so perhaps it would have been too much to play him for the whole game, so I thought I'd give him just a half.
Evidentemente tutti i carichi di lavoro che sta sopportando in questo momento lo stanno affaticando e io spero che da qui a un po' di tempo si possa riprendere e farci vedere le sue qualità.
He's working very hard at this time, and I hope in a very short time we'll be able to see him fully fit.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Ah, he does speak English, you see there, he's made a mistake there. Just thinking, how much, we talked about it when he came, if that is the extent of his English still, is that a handicap?
You wonder if it is the extent of his English. I mean, how many months has he been over here? Five or six? And you think, well, he should know a little bit now just to converse simple answers. But I don't know. I mean, Vialli at Chelsea insisted on English being spoken. I'm not sure it's quite the same structure under Ranieri. And the sooner he can talk to the media, the better. Because I just think, I mean, if he can't converse with his players either, if he needs an interpreter like that when it comes to giving out rollickins, it's a waste of time, isn't it?
What's left in Chelsea's season?
Chance to go for Europe. I mean, now they've really got to focus on a top 6 spot. Pressure will be on them a little bit now. I think people start to ask questions. They're a club that's been built and designed to be playing in Europe, especially the Champions League. It's not going to happen, and we'll have to see how things pan out.
And is it likely that Arsenal can come through this week, the 3 matches, unscathed?
Certainly, I mean, the Champions League is where it's at for Arsenal now, I think. Finishing second or third and doing well in the competition while they're in it. They'll go up to Manchester. And
so you're writing off the FA Cup, are you?
No, well, Wenger has actually stated, hasn't he, that he would rather finish second or third in the league than win the FA Cup, which I think maybe upset 1 or 2 fans. But now they're in the position they're in, I think they're favourites by a margin, and rightfully so.
Thanks both very much indeed. Thank you. From Sky Sports next, 5:30 today, it's Tennent's Scottish Cup football. Ross County play Rangers at Sky Sports 1 at 5:30. Tomorrow night, we're looking back on the whole of the 5th round. Graham Souness is joining Andy and myself at Sky Sports 1 tomorrow at 7:30. Bolton play Blackburn Friday at 7, that's the league game. Sky Sports 2, it's interactive for Sky Digital viewers. United play Arsenal next Sunday at 12 o'clock. And Birmingham meet Liverpool in the Worthington Cup final next Sunday at 2. We finish a big day with Celtic against Hibs. That's 5:30 on Sky Sports 1. The holders, Chelsea, are out of the FA Cup. It's Arsenal who take the quarter-final place after a stormer at Highbury.